We're still waiting for 2 more members. Will be guided by the committee secretary.
One more, Chairperson.
One more.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're still waiting for 2 more members. Will be guided by the committee secretary.
One more, Chairperson.
One more.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're still waiting for 2 more members. Will be guided by the committee secretary.
One more, Chairperson.
One more.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're still waiting for 2 more members. Will be guided by the committee secretary.
One more, Chairperson.
Not true.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're still waiting for 2 more members. Will be guided by the committee secretary.
One more, Chairperson.
Not true.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Koliso. We're still waiting for 2 more members. Will be guided by the committee secretary.
One more, Chairperson.
Not true.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Koliso. We're still waiting for 2 more members. Will be guided by the committee secretary.
To a mandatory annual 10% increment. Not true.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Koliso. We're still waiting for 2 members. Will be guided by the Gender Commission, our guest, Mr. Ismail, and all other members that I've not seen them, but you're welcome to this meeting. Before we start, I will request that we observe a moment of silence for meditation Gender
or prayer.
Commission, our guest, Mr. Ismail, and all other members that I've not seen them, but you're welcome to this meeting. Before we start, I will request that we observe moment of silence for meditation. Gender Commission,
a parliament.
our guest, Mr. Ismail,
Kopano ye ya lekgono
and all other members that
the
have
petition
not
tšeo di
I've not seen
rometšweng
them, but you're welcome to this meeting. Before we
ke ba
start,
bangwe ba maloko a
I will
setšhaba sa
request
rona.
that we observe moment
Re a
of silence
leboga
for
repoto
meditation.
eo e
for
rometšweng
prayer.
ke bao tswa ka commission ya gender, gender commission. Honorable members, before we start, we'll note the apologies as I'm going to request Koliswa to note apologies for members who have not managed to come to this meeting. Koliswa?
Good morning, Chairperson. Thank you very much. Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members and our guest. I have an apology from the Minister of Human Settlements. I have an apology from the Deputy Minister and also from Member Mbana. They are not able to join the meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Koliswa.
Hello, Chair.
Member, yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were calling me.
Oh, no, I was thanking you. Thank you very much, Koliswa. Honorable members, that are the apologies forwarded for this meeting today. I want to take this opportunity to welcome members of the committee, welcome our guests in this meeting. You are heartily welcome to this meeting. Our agenda, as I've indicated, that we have the report from the Gender Commission, which was referred to us by the Chair of Chairs. I'm going to allow, we've invited the Gender Commission to be part of this meeting. I'm going to allow them to talk to their report, and then members of the committee will interact with that report. Gender Commission.
Chairperson, it's Honourable Powell. Good morning, Chair.
Morning.
The agenda that we have this morning that was sent to us last night notes that the petition by Ms. Ismail and then the briefing by the Ekurhuleni Municipality was to happen straight after apologies, followed then by a discussion, and then on item 8, the briefing by the CGE. So can we move to the item as per the agenda, please?
The agenda that we finalized yesterday was starting with Gender Commission.
I'm looking at the email that Koliswa sent 11 hours ago at 9:48 p.m. The agenda that was attached to that email sent at 10 to 10 last night.
Honorable member, I'm saying the agenda that is there on the screen. Unfortunately, there was a mistake. So the agenda is there on the screen.
So at what point between 10 p.m. last night and this morning was the agenda unilaterally changed?
Unilaterally, what do you mean?
Well, we as the committee were sent this agenda. You're saying that the agenda was changed. We haven't been alerted to that, which means that the change was unilateral.
Honorable Powell, yes, I'm saying the agenda is developed by the chair and the secretary, and unfortunately the secretary has forwarded the agenda, which what I have confirmed is the one that I've seen here. Probably
But
that's why
Chairperson,
I'm saying
it
it's a
can't be the case that
Honorable
between
member,
10
we are
o'clock
not
last night
debating
and this
about the
morning,
agenda.
items have been removed from the agenda.
Honorable member, we are not going to debate the agenda unless if you are saying you propose that we change. You can change the agenda because you have as members. If you want to change the agenda, suggest that can we change the agenda? The agenda is on the screen, honorable member. Look at the screen.
Chairperson, I'm sorry. This is really not acceptable. At 10 o'clock last night, we were sent an agenda. We as members prepare for the agenda as per what is circulated to us. Now this morning in committee, you bring us a new agenda with items having been moved off the agenda.
Honorable member, the agenda has
No,
not
Chairperson,
changed.
you need to let me speak.
Honorable member, the agenda has not
Order.
changed.
Why have
Honorable
items been
member.
moved off of the agenda,
Honorable
Chairperson?
member.
That's the question that I'm asking you.
Order, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Mashego.
I requested to speak
The chronology of the agenda
Mashego.
should not be a discussion point. We are still going to discuss all the points on the agenda. Why is it an issue to discuss what comes first on the agenda?
Because we work together as a team.
Honorable
No, but can you continue the meeting?
Honorable member, can
all
I
the
allow-
agenda items must be discussed.
Mashego, you have
Honorable
been
member.
recognized by the chairperson. I'm not
Honorable
addressing you. I am
members.
addressing Honorable Semenya. Honorable Semenya,
Honorable
will
members,
be proceeding to
No, Powell, we are not
Honorable Powell.
that. The meeting
Honorable
has
Mashego.
got agenda items to be discussed. We shall discuss all of them.
Honorable member.
No,
I
Mashego.
said the
Chairperson,
agenda is on the screen. Honorable members, the agenda is on the screen.
We're looking at the
Honorable Mashego.
No, man, now.
Honorable
No, I don't have time for Mashego because
Order, man. Honorable Mashego.
Do you think I've got time for you when I'm telling?
no, I don't have time for you at
Honorable
all.
Mashego.
I don't have time for you either, man. What do you think you are?
For Spanish people.
Honorable members.
I don't have time for you either.
Proceed with our meeting.
Clownish.
Honorable, can I
that's
invite
one
the Gender
for
Commission
the
to
meeting
present
for
the report?
Procedures. I don't have time for that. Chairperson, can I come in?
We don't. I can't listen to you all. I don't have time for you. Why must we listen to you when I'm done? Why? Why do you think you must be listening?
Because I've got the right. I've been voted by the
why do you think others don't have right like you are?
I've got the right.
Why do you give yourself right that others don't have?
Chairperson, can I
You
come
must
in?
never think this is a meeting of
Honorable
fools here.
Mashego.
No, I don't like this thing that thing people must
Can I be recognized, please?
Honorable Mashego, please, can we proceed with our meeting?
Can I be
Honorable Musala.
recognized? Okay, thanks so much, Chairperson. The other thing before I go,
do you want me to listen to Mdalo has got no time for other people in a
I don't
meeting?
have time for you because
Must she be listened by who?
people are talking.
No, you
Honorable
I
Mashego.
must not be listening
If you
either. You
don't
don't have
listen
time for other
to me,
people. We don't
if you
have
don't
either time for you.
listen,
Point of
We
order.
don't have time for you.
I want to listen, leave the meeting.
If somebody says to me,
Mashego and
it's not
Honorable
time
Musala.
for me in a meeting, I
I'm not
don't have
Point of
Honorable members, can we listen to one another?
Chair.
We're delaying ourselves in this meeting.
Chair,
And
let me
on time. I've noted Honorable Musala. Honorable Musala.
not Chair. Before I go to the agenda, I'm not sure whether I heard very well that the minister is not part of the meeting today. There's an apology. If
Minister has got an apology, there is an NEC meeting that is sitting of the African National Congress, and the deputy minister, both deputy ministers, they are sitting in that NEC.
so now we must
We are proceeding with the meeting. Yes.
But going forward, Chairperson, we talked about this issue, I think, last week or on Tuesday. The minister is always not in the meeting. For me, I suggest that we don't even accept the apology of the minister. I understand.
We are going to accept the apology of the minister.
Don't interject me. You must wait. You are the chairperson. Allow me to talk. And then from there, don't make a debate. No, but you're interjecting me. I'm still speaking, you are responding.
I thought you were finished.
No, I was not done. I was still speaking.
Finish, honorable member.
So I'm saying the apology of the minister must not be accepted. It's been several meetings, not the minister not coming to this meeting. Every now and then we are given an excuse. So I suggest we don't accept the apology of the minister. Thank you. And with regards to this issue of the agenda, I don't think we must discuss this. We have received agendas in emails. So were we misled or what? Let's bring the agenda that was on the email that we received this morning or later last night on the screen and work. Thank you.
So you have your agenda. I've got the agenda that I've received.
But what's yours?
Chairperson, it's Honorable Powell on a point of order.
As the committee, that agenda is yours. You know, it's yours alone because you did not send it to us. It's your agenda. Please bring the agenda that you sent to members last night here on the screen and let me move forward. Thank you.
Chairperson, it's Honorable Powell. We've got officials from the Treasury who were sent the same agenda as us last night.
Chairperson, Member Tseki, can I comment, Chair, please?
Okay.
Chairperson. Honorable Rebecca is right because the minister is.
Honorable.
Can we speak, Chairperson?
Noted, Honorable Zeki.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I think we note the refusal to accept the apology from Member Mushala. It's noted. I accept the apology of the Minister. Secondly, Chair, on the agenda, indeed, Member Powell is correct. But if the chairperson and the team have seen it fit to reprioritize the agenda, I support the items as presented by the chair, noting what, excuse me, noting what Member Powell is saying on the agenda that was sent yesterday. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson, Honorable Powell, will you recognize me?
I second.
Honorable Tafeni.
It's Shelley Mukhotu, Chairperson.
Oh, okay. I thought it's Tafeni.
Honorable Shelley Mukhotu.
Okay, Honorable Shelley.
Chairperson, I think it will only be fair if you present that agenda on the screen and you ask us as members if we adopt the agenda or not, so that you involve us. If we are not going to accept it, then we'll tell you that we are not accepting it because we were sent an agenda last night. But if we are going to accept it, we'll adopt it now. Thank you, Chairperson.
That's what I was saying, Honorable. That is what I'm saying. That is what I've said, Honorable Mokhotu. I've said, Honorable Member, the agenda is on the screen. Can we talk to the agenda? And the first item would be the Gender Commission. So can I? And Comrade Tseki says, Honorable Tseki supported the agenda. Can I get the seconder?
Chairperson. The issue of the minister.
No, we'll come back. Honorable member, let's adopt the agenda.
Chairperson, it's Honorable Powell. When you started this meeting, you moved straight to the meeting and not give us an opportunity to adopt the agenda. We've got people from the Kuruleni waiting. It is a matter of courtesy to send us the correct agenda. Please will you make sure in future that you do.
Honorable Powell, you have not recognized by anybody. By the way, you have not recognized by anybody as you are speaking. Honorable.
Will you recognize me, Chairperson? I'm asking you to recognize me.
I'm still running the meeting. Honorable Tseki suggested that we adopt the agenda as presented. Can I get the seconder?
I do, Chair.
Honorable Masigo seconded. Honorable Powell?
Thank you, Chairperson. Now, it's not in my nature to come to Chairperson, it's not in my nature to come to these meetings and be disruptive, but we are parliamentarians and we need to follow process and procedure. So when we came to the meeting this morning, you did not give us an opportunity to adopt a unilaterally changed agenda. You tried to proceed straight to a unilaterally changed agenda. It's only now because I've raised it that you've asked for the agenda to be adopted and seconded, which I accept. Honorable Semenya, I'm talking. Please, will you give me an opportunity? Now, we are all busy parliamentarians. And if people from Ekurhuleni come to our meeting ready to present, then it is only fair to give them notice that they will present later on the agenda. Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable Mokhotu, you said there was a person who was raising the issue of the minister. Honorable Tseki has accepted the minister's apology. Honorable
It's me, Honorable Malala, don't say
Honorable Moshala said he doesn't accept the apologies of the minister. Can I get the members to speak to the two views?
Chairperson, Honorable
Honorable Mokhotu.
Thank you, Chairperson. I also agree with Honorable Mutla. Every time when the minister is supposed to attend our meetings, she doesn't attend. She always gives apologies. And this meeting of today is very, very important. She was supposed to be here, or at least in order for her to show respect, she's supposed to have sent either one of her deputy ministers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Tafeni.
Honorable Mashiku.
Chairperson.
Yeah, I think we should follow the processes in this manner, that the executive are not necessarily members of the portfolio committee. They come to the portfolio committee by invitation, and if somebody has respected us by sending an apology, we might complain that there is too many apologies, but an apology represents your inability to attend a meeting, especially when you are not a member. They are invitees in our meeting, so we cannot say to them they can't send an apology when they are simply invitees. Therefore, I second Member Tseki.
Honorable, thank you, Honorable Mashio. Honorable, who's calling me?
It's Tafeni, Chairperson.
Okay, but I've called you earlier, but you are not there.
The minister is not taking us serious. Why the minister is not in the meeting, but the meeting is the department yakhe? Kutheni sizomane okokoko si-accept i-apology kaminister ongasikhathalelanga kwaye izinto esizithethayo akasijongi nesijonga. It means sisenza nje into esingayazi noba izawuphelela phi. So kutheni uminister engazubakho okokoko? Benithetha loo nto last time nina nisithi uminister uzawuba khona. Kutheni engekho today?
Honorable member, the minister we accepted the apologies. Honorable members, we have accepted the apology of the minister because they.
I get the apology coming to Chivelai.
We have accepted the
Who did you accept the apology with? With who? Accepting the apology coming to which is that?
Chairperson, order.
Honorable Mashiwais, Honorable Masala, please respect me so that I can respect you. Honorable,
can I be recognized after that?
Honorable Tseki proposed that we accept the agenda. Mashiru said I second. So I'm saying you have objected that the apology.
There's a counter.
Is a counter.
Yes.
Yes, you know that the EFF has got 1 vote in this meeting. So the EFF is 1. You can speak with 3, but you are 1. So Mashiru and Zeki, they have supported the apology of the minister. That's
But
why I'm
is-
saying we. I'm saying we because
Can I come
already-
in? Can I try to correct you, Chairperson? I'm one in this meeting as the member of the EFF, but you
Yes,
did not
the
ask
EFF.
other oppositions. You did not ask. The procedure is when there's a counter, you must either call for a vote. Are other members that are in this committee supporting what Mashego and Seki have emphasized? So we don't know whether the other organizations are going to support the submission of Mashiru and Zeki. So allow other members to also give their input. As a counter, allow for a vote if possible. Thank you.
We are not going to allow for a vote if other members are not speaking, honorable member, unless you force them to speak. If there are 2 people who said they support one another.
Chairperson.
Honorable member, let's know the can I get then Honorable Powell, do you support Honorable Mosala or Honorable Zeki so that we proceed? We don't have to waste time. Honorable Powell. Honorable Powell. Honorable Sikwai, are you in the meeting?
I'm in the meeting, Chairperson. It's Honorable Powell.
I've been trying to speak. Chairperson. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, Honorable.
I have a network problem. I've been trying. Chair, I think the issue that you are raising now, Honorable Tseki is saying he supports the apology of the minister. I think those that are support perhaps should be able to raise their hand because
that's what Honorable Sikwai, that's why
yes.
I'm saying there is Honorable Mashiru has seconded. I've requested Honorable Powell to comment.
Okay.
Okay, well, Honorable Semenya, if I may comment then, this was an issue.
I am on the floor. Powell.
Okay.
Powell.
Honorable, I requested Honorable Powell to comment. She didn't come, and I've called your name, whether you support Honorable Zeki or
I do, Chair. I do. I support Honorable Zeki.
Honorable Powell, you wanted to come in?
Yes, sorry, I'm having network problems as well. There's a delay on this line. I've turned off my video, but Chairperson, just if you are asking for my comments, I raised the issue of the minister not attending this committee about a week ago, and I was faced with a barrage of insults and all sorts of ugly things were said. And I've said what I need to say. I don't feel that the minister takes this committee seriously. The minister should be in this committee as often as she can. It is unconscionable that Luthuli House ANC party business is put ahead of the very important work of this parliamentary committee. So I don't accept the excuse that the minister's at an NEC meeting. This is a working day. We are paid by the state and we are here to work for the people of South Africa. But my comments about the minister not attending portfolio committee are on record, and they were on record as far as over a week ago. So I support what Honourable Mashlala is saying, that I don't feel the minister's providing this committee with the requisite respect that it deserves, but I have nothing further to add other than that.
Thank you very much, Honourable Powell.
Chairperson.
Who's that?
Chairperson. It's Leon speaking.
Okay, Honourable Leon.
Chairperson, I don't think we take note the minister is not attending. We don't need to vote on the issue. I'm very much disappointed. We discussed it last week where the minister does not attend the meetings, insofar that I ask you to summons the minister to the next meeting on the water and sanitation issue. So it's with regret that I've got to take note that the minister is not attending this meeting. But because it now becomes a norm that the minister does not attend these meetings, and she really doesn't take this committee serious. So I would be very much worried if I were you, Chairperson, that the minister is really not really interested in what is going on with this committee and what is going on in the country, where we've got to deal with issues by the community, and the minister is just not present. Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable, thank you, Honorable Leon. Honorable, who's in the meeting? Poliswa?
Hello, Chair.
Yes, who's in the meeting?
From where, Chairperson? The members?
Yes, those that have not spoken.
Chair, I'm here, it's like, but I've just joined.
Okay. No, Honorable Zeke,
Yes,
we're discussing, there was the two views on the acceptance of the minister's apology. When we started, we indicated the minister has given apology, both the minister and the deputy minister, because the NEC of the ANC sitting today, they've given an apology because they are members of the NEC. And Honorable Masala, supported by Powell and Leon, they say they don't support the apology. Honorable Zeke and Nancy, they support the apology. So we getting members to support the apologies. Unfortunately, we have to do that so that we proceed with the...
Oh, okay, Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I think I will support the apology. I'll note and support the apology of the minister, based on the fact that the minister is. I don't have a problem regarding the issues that are raised by minister. By members. I heard Powell and Leon. I don't have a problem with that, but going forward, I think the minister must deal with that with her office. But for today, I support the apology of the minister, based on the fact that minister it's also have a responsibility politically to run the affairs of this organization, Chair. So I think we must note that, and especially today's agenda, I don't think that does need the presence of the minister. Dealing with other issues that can be administratively be processed by administrators or officials within the department. So I don't see any harm, Chair, of the apology of the minister. But going forward, I think we'll deal with it as the portfolio committee. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Zeke. Honorable Pasingwa.
Good morning, Chairperson. I understand the apology of the minister, because I don't think the minister is in Bahamas or somewhere on holiday. The minister is a responsible politician. So as much as we raised the issues last week, but she would not deliberately not stay away from the meeting. So can we agree that in the next meeting, let's make sure that we talk to the minister that she must attend the meeting. It's allowed that the minister sometimes would not be available for meetings, and especially when officials are there. And I don't think we need to waste time to discuss this thing further. So I agree with everybody who says that let us have the meeting continue, and then we'll see in the next meeting that the minister attends. That's it. Otherwise, we're wasting time. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, honorable members. Therefore, the majority accept the apology of the minister. We will then proceed with our meeting. Honorable members,
Chairperson.
Can I finish, honorable member?
Yeah, afterwards, can you please recognize me so that we can close this issue?
Honorable members, when we adopted the agenda, or when we adopted the program on Tuesdays and Fridays, we said that Fridays will be scheduled to for the stakeholders, and therefore, and on Tuesday we deals with the reports, and we said that we will request that the minister, and the minister in particular, should definitely attend the meetings that has to deal with issues that needs her as a political head of the department, and with Fridays, because we are dealing with the stakeholders, we will, anybody who can be able to respond, delegated by the department to respond to the issues, should be allowed to attend the meetings. And I don't want us to conflict the issue of Tuesdays and when the issues were affecting the minister directly and the issue of the stakeholders, and club them together as if we didn't agree from the beginning. We have agreed in this meeting when we start from the beginning of the term that when we adopted the Tuesday and Fridays because of the huge portfolio committees. So we should never club the two together, because we'll then be reneging from our decision that we've taken as members. So Honorable Masala.
I requested to be recognized, if possible.
No, I did.
Did you recognize me?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, thanks so much, Chairperson. It's okay. It's done. The apology of the minister is being accepted. But what I want to say to the committee is, this committee meeting is an extension of the House rules governing the business of Parliament. So when we were voting, the honorable, normally in Parliament, they ensure that they don't allow members to come in when we are voting. But you did not do that. Honorable Connie and Honorable Tseki came in when we were voting, and they were accepted in the meeting. So it's an extension of the House rule, this committee. So the rules that are applied, the rules that applies in the House, they must also apply here. We can't see a situation where members just come in like that when we are voting. They are being phoned to come and vote. The two members of the NC came when we were voting. How can that be possible? It must not be. Connie and Tseki, they came in when we were voting. Thank you. They were not here when we were voting.
Tseki was the first person to register.
Grace Tseki was not here. He even confirmed that she just came now. Honorable Connie was here when the vote started. So you are actually not following the rules of the House. We are doing our own in this committee. I'm talking about Grace Tseki, who just came and confirmed that I just arrived now. Thank you.
Let's stop the dialogue.
No, Mutala, you are out of order. You are out of order, Honorable
Chairperson.
Honorable Grace and Mashehu, can we wait?
Oh.
Honorable Masala.
Yes, Chair, and rectify with the matter raised.
You said I must get other members to talk to the matter. I'm saying the majority says we have not voted, because if you vote, we'll ring the bells and the procedure will follow. Unless if you want to do that, because you know, when we vote, we ring the bell for members. We adjourn for a particular minute and get members to be ready for vote. Not just say let's vote. I've never said let's vote.
You are not consistent. You just said the majority. This is you.
Majority people.
Said the matter is closed. The majority have supported. What are you?
But why do you want us to allow you to be dialogue with members who must be spectators in the meeting? Why should we do that?
Honorable Mashiku, you have not been given any person permission to speak.
Honorable,
Don't you think I must ask permission from EFF?
Honorable
I
Masiku, you
don't.
have not been given any permission by the
I will not be given by EFF to speak.
You are out of order.
You want to
Please, can I speak?
Honorable Masiku,
Oh, man.
thank you, honorable members. Honorable Masiku, you don't have to be a spectator. Can you allow us to run the meeting? Honorable Musala, you too, you are speaking when you are not recognized, and now when Masiku speaks, you complain. Honorable members, can we proceed with our meeting? Can I call the Gender Commission to present?
Of this committee.
But
Banana,
we note your inconsistency, Chairperson. You are very inconsistent.
Always, Mashako is like chairperson of this committee.
Very inconsistent.
Honorable Musala, Honorable Musala, you request to speak, and I will allow you to speak, and insult whoever you want to insult. Will allow you to do that. We are noting, if you feel the chairperson is unfair, there is a procedure, as you are talking about the rules. There is a procedure that you must follow in terms of the rules of parliament to go and complain about the chairperson of the meeting, but you cannot be allowed to disrupt the meeting. Can we proceed, honorable members?
Chairperson, what I'm saying is, can
Honorable
I be
member, don't respond when I'm
can I be recognized? I'm not swearing at anybody. I did not swear at you.
Honorable member, I'm not allowing you to continue. Can I allow to run the meeting? I'm inviting the Gender Commission to present. Can I allow the representative from Gender Commission to present?
agreed, Chair.
Can honorable
Agreed,
members,
Chair.
let's welcome the Gender Commission to present. Gender Commission.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Thanks to you, and I greet you this morning and the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlement and Water and Sanitation. Honorable Chair, we feel very much honored to be invited to this meeting to come and share one of our investigative reports on the state of shelters, one of our work that we have done during the year 2018 and 2019 financial year. Honorable Chair, my name is Tamara Matebula, the chairperson of the commission. I'm accompanied by the head of legal department, Ms. Marisa Fanikek. Honorable Chair, I was wondering if the presentation can be put up, but if it cannot, I will continue from this end.
Koliswa, can you please the presentation?
Can you see the presentation, Chairperson?
Yes, I can see it. Thank you very much, Kolisa. Thanks a lot. Just to start with the presentation, I was invited this morning to come and talk to the report on the state of shelters in South Africa. And we can move to the next slide, please. I think by way of introduction, I just want to indicate that the Commission for Gender Equality, I think previous slide, you have moved a bit fast. The Commission for Gender Equality is an independent statutory body that was established in 1996, and the Commission is mandated to promote and protect gender equality, and we are doing this looking at the public sector, the private sector, the civil society, and we draw most of our mandate from the CGE Act number 39 of 1996 as amended. And the powers that we draw from this are the powers to actually make sure that We evaluate policies, we evaluate practices of organs of state. At any level, we evaluate those policies and practices of statutory bodies. We look at statutory bodies and functionaries, public bodies, authorities, and private businesses that we constantly monitor, including enterprises and institutions. And I must mention that some of those institutions include institutions of higher learning. And we do this just to make sure that all these entities promote gender equality and make any recommendations that the Commission deem fits if we do find any irregularities within the institutions. Next slide, please. I think whilst you're putting the next slide, yes, as I indicated earlier, honorable members, and through you, Chair, we indicated that this work was done during the financial year 2018 and 2019, and the Commission undertook this systemic investigation into the state of shelters in the country, so that we can look at how the GBV survivors are actually accommodated in these shelters. And I must make mention that when we did this investigation was initiated by the complaints that we received from gross violation or inadequate and misalignment of funding that goes to the shelters. So the Commission observed that there are deep-rooted systemic challenges that were there in these shelters, and a way of addressing these shelters was to actually go in, do investigation, and look at the highest level of institutions that are expected to actually provide services to the survivors of gender-based violence. And as such, we then decided that we will develop a report, and this report actually made this particular recommendation that we must call for public investigative hearings during the financial year 2018 and 2019. So in doing the hearings, what we normally do, we normally call the heads of the 9 provincial DSDs, which is Department of Social Development, because they are the ones that are providing funding to the shelters. We also called the Director General of the Department of Social Development to come and appear before the Commission. We also invited the DG of the National Department of Human Settlement to come and appear before the Commission, so that we can actually discuss not only the report, but also share the binding recommendations with the DGs as well as the provincial heads of departments. And we then decided that once we have done that, we will then agree on certain things that need to be done within a period, and we gave each other a period of actually implementing some of those recommendations that we talk about, and or responding to some of the questions that were raised during the public investigative hearings that we held between last year, November and December in 2019. Next slide, please. I think against the backdrop that the Commission held these investigative hearings, what we did was to make sure that we call these departments, especially apart from the Department of Social Development, the Department of Human Settlement, we also felt that it was critical that we invite the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, because if we talk about the shelters, the state of shelters, we also wanted to make sure that the Department of Infrastructure, Public Works and Infrastructure can actually make input in terms of looking at relevant structures that are there that can actually assist if we feel that these shelters were not enough in South Africa to actually accommodate GBV survivors. And I think that was a finding. And we also just wanted to make sure that we speak to them in that regard. We also called the National Treasury because they actually allocate funding for the departments. We also called the National Department of Labor, as well as the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities to come and appear for us, because this is a systemic issue, and I think it actually needed most of the departments to actually come and assist in terms of making sure that we implement the recommendations of the report. Next slide, please. On the findings, honorable members, the following were the findings, and I think we have then decided to actually put aside all the findings that go to other departments, but concentrate on the findings that are relevant for the Department of Human Settlement, Water and Sanitation. So the commission found the following, that the Department of Human Settlement has over the years received grants from National Treasury, and such grants have been apportioned to Provincial Department of Human Settlements. So that was a finding, that the monies are there. The second finding was that the role of the provincial departments over and above the specific stated that the Housing Act has not been actually looked at, implemented, and make sure that it actually follows the programs as stipulated in the National Housing Code. I think that was a gap in our findings. The third finding was that the Department of Human Settlement has submitted that it has the latest information on national policy development concerning a special housing needs program that would be necessary to actually make sure that it complements the work that the National Housing Code was actually stipulating and inviting. And accordingly, this particular program was a program that we actually looked at in terms of making sure that it's implemented and it's implemented accordingly, and there is some kind of fixing or constructing some of those shelters for people with special needs and for people with disabilities and all of those things. Next slide, please. As we continue with the findings, I think in terms of the funding that the Department of Human Settlement was receiving, it was confirmed that it was receiving the financial assistance from government, but it actually also relied on the funding that was provided by donors or donations, also by private sector credit entities. And the Department of Human Settlement also submitted that in its process of sending letters to highlight their plight in terms of funding or getting excess funding that will go towards shelters for the victims of gender-based violence. And it also confirmed that it will receive a formal confirmation on the basis of the letter that was submitted, whether the funding will actually be given and whether the funding will actually be increased, and this funding will be forwarded or it will be rerouted to provide shelters for gender-based violence victims in South Africa. So in essence, honorable members, although the Housing Act requires all three spheres of government to promote the needs or the housing needs of the marginalized group, the disadvantaged, by unfair discrimination, failure to provide housing needs to persons with disability, we saw it that it actually amounts to some kind of unfair discrimination of the people with disabilities, but also members of the LGBTIQA communities. Next slide, please. Further findings, we then decided that the Department of Human Settlement will have to be encouraged to proactively conceptualize its role as providing shelters, as well as providing shelters to the victims of abuse and the victims of discrimination against the people that are living with disabilities and LGBTIQA communities. And this needs to actually be clear in the Department of Human Settlements agenda, policies, as well as the strategic plans going forward. We also did indicate that the Department of Human Settlements needs to finalize its special needs housing policy, because this special needs housing policy was not there and it was not finalized if it was in a draft form. And the department admitted that there was a disjuncture between the conception of a shelter, as well as the issues of shelters that the Commission for Gender Equality was actually focusing on. So to this end, honorable members, I must mention that the department noted concerns regarding financing structures for emergency and special needs housing. And this matter was going to be one of the matters that was going to be taken forward. I think as I move towards the end, as we continue, next slide, please. So I think in view of the findings that were directed to the Department of Human Settlements, the department had to finalize its special needs housing policy by June 2020. Amidst of the COVID, I know that due to COVID lockdown challenges, we haven't managed to actually engage directly with the department with regards to look at how far they have gone in terms of finalizing this special needs housing policy. And I think this is something that we will be following on with the department. We also indicated that the department should consider liaising with the National Shelter Movement. And this is one of the NGOs, national NGOs, that could actually assist the national department in terms of actually conceptualizing some of the issues that we talked about around the issues of shelters. I think they have their own reports. They have their own issues that they need to look at when we talk about the state of shelters in South Africa. And I think this collaboration will actually make sure that the department gains quite a lot from the National Shelter Movement. We also indicated that the department needs to submit a draft of special needs housing policy to the Commission before June. And this is something that we will actually be following up because we haven't received any of the draft report from the department. Next slide, please. I know I see that the slides haven't moved, but I will continue from this end. So in essence, we said that during the financial year 2020 to 2021, the Commission will be conducting a follow-up process where all the departments that I have mentioned before, including the Department of Housing, will be required to provide progress report on addressing issues raised by the Commission. And this is something that we need to do, and we will start doing this by August 2020. And this is all from my side, and we are happy that we can take comments as well as questions from honorable members. I thank you. Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, members, for listening to us.
Thank you very much, Member Tebula, for the report. Honorable members, that was the report as tabled to Parliament by the Gender Commission. And before we interact with the report, can we allow the department to talk to the report?
Morning, Chair.
Morning.
My name is Neville Cheney. Chair, I think the Acting Director General, Mr. Shabane, indicated that he's got a clash with another steercom with MEC Maile. So I think he did tender his apology to you, if I'm correct, Chair.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, just to indicate, I'm joined on the line by my colleagues, Ms. Nonhlanhla Buthelezi, who is the head of the policy unit in the department, together with Ms. Saitishu Ramutla, as well as Mr. Lita Jolobe. I've also got Mr. Chose from the office of the DM, Faith Rishwana from the DM's office as well. And Chair, I'm just checking which other colleagues I have, but those are that's on this matter, Chair. Chair, we did send a presentation. I'm not sure if you want me to take you through that, or should I just speak to the point?
Can it be loaded?
Thanks, Chair. Ms. Pasia will load it. I mean, we sent it through. I'm assuming that she will load it. Kolisa?
Please note your time, acting DDG.
Okay, I will look, Chair.
Presentation, but in the meantime, maybe what I should do, Chair, is to just take us through it. Chair, just to indicate in relation to the presentation by the chairperson of the commission, Chair, just to indicate, Chair, we confirm as indicated by the chair that we had there were these consultations, there was the recommendation. And just to indicate, Chair, that we have as the department undertaken the necessary processes. And I think in particular, Chair, if members of the portfolio have, I'll go to slide 2, it just gives an indication of the purpose. The third slide gives a background. And Chair, then with your permission, I'll then ask for the for us to go to slide 12. Chair, just to indicate, Chair, what we did was after the report was provided to us, we circulated to all provinces, metropolitan municipalities, the South African Human Rights Commission, as well as SALGA for comment and advice. And as we've indicated, there are various documents that we've provided, and those annexes have been provided to yourself. We hosted a workshop on the 15th of January with a view to contextualize the issues and find resolutions. Unfortunately, Chair, that there was no representative at that meeting from the Commission. Chair, just to indicate, on the recommendations which are on slide 14, Chair, in relation to the National Shelter Movement, to discuss the proposed policy guidelines and other related matters, the delegates of the National Shelter Movement were invited to the January 2020 workshop. The second point was around the question of the finalization of the policy by June 2020. Chair, we must just indicate we are finalizing the comments, and a virtual process will be undertaken to the policy by August 2020. And included in that will be an outcome of set detailed implementation guidelines. What that will then do, Chair, is to allow us as the department to then take that for approval to MINMEC as well as National Treasury, and then allow for the funding that is allocated to either the provinces or metropolitan municipalities in terms of the USDG or HSDG to be utilized for the provision of shelters as per the recommendation of the Gender Equality. Chair, we must also indicate that we are undertaking a consultation with the Department of Social Development, because in terms of the adjusted budget, you will be aware, and Parliament's aware, that there was monies that were set aside for the provision of shelters, particularly in relation to the issue of gender-based violence and its consequences. Chair, I neglected to raise the point that there is no, I think the department from administration together with the minister, we fully support the recommendations of the Commission of Gender Equality, and there's a commitment from our side to make sure that the issue is addressed. In addition to that, one of the issues that we will be raising as well as part of the policy is the responsibility of the Social Housing Regulatory Authority in terms of its social housing policy to be able to undertake that process. And given an allocation of funding between the provinces and the municipalities, together with the special grant that was approved by Cabinet and Parliament, we can then undertake a number of those projects, and we could start on that. Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure if Ms. Buthelezi or Ramutla want to do anything with your permission, Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Ramutla or Buthelezi?
Good morning, Chair and Portfolio Committee members. I'm okay, confirm what the DDG has just shared with the committee. There wouldn't be any additional input. It's just to say the projects that we are talking about, it's done in collaboration with the Department of Social Development and Department of Health. Everything that he has mentioned, I think it's correct, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, that was the presentation and the response by the department. Can we get members to talk to the report? Honorable Zeki.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, let's appreciate the presentation. Kaspeduna lentevarenke khome ya moshate. Wa hapa umlatu wa itwela umlatu. Chair, we must be careful of unintended consequences with all what is being presented here. It's a very progressive and no one could comment against it when you look at the issues of GBV. But let me just throw some few points, Chair. The first one, I would really support and think that the shelter movement can assist a lot here. But let's look at the shelter movement in terms of where it's a temporary program, or shelters becomes a temporary program when a person has been violated, the rights have been violated. Not necessarily a shelter that is called a house. I hope we are not talking about that. The request from the human rights is to make sure that the department contributes within the shelters that are being built in the country. Because by building a house share, and then this person moves from a shelter and goes to a house, an RDP house, as an example, that can create unintended consequences. Because, I mean, these violent gender issues, comrade, Chairperson has got so many backgrounds that we can take the whole day about them. But equally, I'm excited to hear that the Department of Health and Social Development are also involved. Because I think human rights, you are correct. The matter of shelter or the matter of GBV, it's a mainstreaming program that cuts across all departments. And therefore, I think human settlement equally has to contribute something, but equally other departments has to contribute. Let's say a mother ran away with the children that are still students. They go into these shelters. In there, Department of Education has to come in. Others are at higher institutions. In there, the Department of Higher Education and many other departments has to come in and contribute to this bigger shelter movement to can deal with GBV. So all what I'm saying, Chair, I was just sensitizing our debates should not necessarily move beyond the shelter towards an RDP, because beyond peace that has been created within the family, then becomes another area where people will run to, and with a hope that they will get this new RDP and then create a whole chaos within the department that is not intended to. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Powell.
Chairperson, I welcome the presentation from the CGE and would just really like to commend them on the incredible work that they do. They really are at times a last line of defense for the women of this country. I welcome all of the recommendations. I'd just like to ask on the special needs housing policy, can we get an indication from the officials when I see the special needs housing policy was going to be finalized and submitted by June. Can we get an undertaking when this item can be presented to our committee? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Musala. Honorable Musala. Can you get Honorable Mokhutu?
Thank you, Chairperson. I want to direct my questions to the department. Does the department have a comprehensive policy and plan in place to address the problem of lack of transitional housing for domestic violence survivors who are ready to leave the shelters, such as Khanyisa victim centers, but cannot return to their homes or do not have anywhere to go? And then another question, does the department have a budget for the transitional housing for the domestic violence survivors who want to leave the shelters? And again, is improving the quality of shelters not the department's mandate? That's the question that I'm asking the department. If yes, why are shelters such as Khanyisa victim centers and KwaNobuhle not provided with adequate security? Does the department have a record of shelters for victims of GBV? Another question, why has the department failed to utilize additional grants or allocation from National Treasury, which they have received over years to provide security to shelters and also build transitional housing for the women survivors who wants to leave the shelter? Shelley. But do not have. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Chairperson. I'm done.
Thank you very much,
Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mokhutu.
Chair?
Yes, Honorable Member.
The last question for Honorable Mokhutu, we did not hear because she was, the network dealt with her. Can she maybe repeat it?
Okay, Honorable Mokhutu.
Unless if you heard, Chair, but I did not hear anything.
Thank you, Chairperson. My last question was, why has the department failed to utilize additional grants or allocation from the National Treasury, which they have received over the years, to provide security to shelters and also build transitional housing for the women survivors who want to leave the shelter but do not have anywhere to go? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honorable Sefai.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the presentation, Gender Commission. And also, thank you for the program that you are doing and following and monitoring within different departments, I imagine. Few questions from a Gender Commission. Perhaps the department will also come in. It's important that we understand your definition of a shelter. What is a shelter against a house? I'm raising this because of the issues that have just been raised by members. Because it's the woman to be taken out instead of taking the perpetrator out. Because the woman has
presentation by the CGE. I know and understand that they are doing a lot of work with the limited budget that they are having. I know one of the things that they are complaining about is the budget allocated to the CGE, which is less than the mandate given to them. So I therefore appreciate the work that they are doing. And secondly, Chair, on the issue, one question I wanted to ask have been covered by Mam Setlhwai, to say they must define the and clarify us on the shelter vis-a-vis the houses that they want to allocate to the victims of GBV. Because to my understanding, Chair, the centers for victims of GBV are funded by Department of Social Development, not by Department of Women Settlement, Chair. So we want that clarity, maybe just to understand it better. And secondly, Chair, on one of their slides, about one of their files, they say the department says they did not receive funding from government for the construction of shelters, but relies on donations from private sector. That was the finding from the CGE. So I want clarity on that, because to my understanding, the shelters are built by social development, not by human settlement, unless you speak about houses. And my other question, Chair, Minister of Social Development, yesterday when she was presenting in Parliament, she spoke about the victim support bill. I don't have the contents of that bill, but hopefully it will speak about how victims of GBV should be accommodated. But I would recommend both the CGE and the department to look at it and make some recommendations, if needs be, on that bill, because it's out for consultations, Chair. And my other question, Chair, or my last comment, Chair, it's for just to encourage the department to work with municipalities and the Department of Social Development, just to make sure that when they identify and COGTA, because I know on the ground, when they identify beneficiaries for houses, they use CDWs, which are accountable to COGTA. I think it is important that they make sure that they identify victims of GBV regarding if they need houses, where they need houses. I think they must identify them through the CDWs on the ground, Chair. So I think those are my input. And lastly, it's on the special need housing policy as raised by Powell, Honorable Powell, to say, let the department give us a brief on when are they going to present to Parliament, or when are they finalizing the matter, as it was true for in June this year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mashego.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Chair. The assumption I'm making is that we understand that we are responding to a report by Gender Commission on the work they have done already, which they need the department to respond to. we should be in a position to avoid a situation where we create a parallel operational structure from what the Gender Commission is presenting to us as things they want us to intervene on, and generalize our views around that which we think the Gender Commission should do and the department should do. It being the case, Chair, just emphasizing on the, maybe adding more on what both Sloy and Member Sloy and Member Tseki have said. One, we need to really avoid the stigmatization of people. Because once you create a village of people living with disabilities, and you might create a situation unintendedly where people are stigmatized for having been either been violent, involved in this abuse, or people with a disability being identified as a village of those without not necessarily being intended to, but the repercussions might come to that point. But also, I think that what we need really to emphasize is what is it that we want to see as a shelter? If it is a shelter which is done for purposes of people that are going through a process which is time framed, and it is better. But if it is a shelter that is becoming permanent, as Member Mkhutu was saying, that there is a permanent shelter where people must sit there, and for them to move out is when they get a new place to stay. Then it is a home. It is a home rather than a shelter. But I think that and I think Mkhutu is saying that if you are in that particular situation, what is the plan to move out of it? It is no longer the problem we're dealing with, wherein a person has been raped today and is taken there to go and be worked through to be cancelled and so forth and go back. And the point that if it is a gender-based thing we're talking about, not a women thing, because there is a situation where men can also be victims of these processes. And as Umam Swai was saying, that what is it that makes us believe that where there is violence in the house, only a woman must leave? What if it is the man who's supposed to leave because he's the one who's violent? But the rent of the matter is that he might come back later. Then it has got a ripple effect, Chair, that the Department of Police, the Police of Social Development, should see to it that if a man has been moved out of a home where he has been seen to be abusing women, he is not, he does not have access back to the house. So the police must come into the fore. So to me, what the commission is talking about is that we need to see to it that these shelters are everywhere where the possibility of the abused people can be found. But when you say there's a shelter for people living with disability, then that's a challenge, because it is no longer a shelter. People, yeah, of course, disabilities differ. There are disabilities that people can't walk, people can't, they need to be taken care every day. Then it is a home. But a shelter should be the one that where you come in temporarily for purposes of counseling and working with the problem, and you go back to your normal life. And that normal life might be your house, or might be home where you, and that specification of and a home should actually be made very clear by both the department and the commission. And then we must have a plan of how we're going to work with it. And the department is being compared by the commission to have that plan clearly, that we can oversight them on, that we can see to it that it is done in a proper manner. But otherwise, to me, I think there is now starting to have a relationship between the department and the commission. Let's encourage that relationship to continue in order for the commission to keep on oversighting the department on these matters. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mashir. Honorable August. Honorable August. Honorable Mapika. Honorable Ngwezi. Honorable Tafel. Okay, let me ask the CGE and the department to respond, but before they do that, just to add on the issues and welcome the report and the commitment by the department and the working relationship that has been established between the department and the Gender Commission, because it's necessary.
Chair,
Yes.
Oh, can I say something?
Oh, I'm sorry, my it's a person.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Chairperson. I just wanted to appreciate our government for creating Chapter 9 institutions. This is where I think we need to acknowledge that commissions like this, they are able to investigate, monitor, and like doing extension work, which we do as a committee. We do oversight, and they are also doing more or less the same what we are doing. So regular interaction like this are very important towards what we are doing as members of parliament, to do the check and balances of what is happening regularly in our communities. What is also important, I think what Honorable Teke is about the municipalities. I think our municipalities are not doing the in terms of gender issues, especially when budgeting for gender issues in the communities, because this is where at local level, where there are a lot of experiences are happening, where women, I understand Honorable Mashiko says, it's not about women. Gender issues are not women issues, are gender issues which affect everybody. But women are always at the receiving end. So at that level, what is it which we are doing at municipality level to make sure that gender issues are taken seriously? And when we look at whether housing, water, whatever in the social aspects, do we use our gender lenses to deal with that? And how far? So there are, in the communities, there are initiatives which are taken by ordinary members of the community, but there are no support. There's no support, and also there's no coordination. People are working in silos, and which I think Gender Commission must try and make sure that at municipality at local level, every municipality is budgeting for issues of social ills, because obviously gender affects a lot of social issues in the community. So my suggestion to them is that they must also make sure that at municipality level there's effect. So that's all I wanted to contribute. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sopasuma. I was saying that we welcome this report and the good work that the Gender Commission you are doing, and we want to we want
Chairperson.
Listening.
Yeah, I'm Honorable Tafin. The tablet is not even a fake, ne? I apologize of that. I have a question.
Okay.
Can we allow the chairperson to
No.
make an input as well, Shabat?
No.
And then
Let's allow them to do that. I don't have a problem, Honorable Zeki. Honorable Tafeni.
Okay.
Okay, Chairperson, I thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I want to say that the gender-based violence victims are supposed to get the sender, that they can get counseling so that they free to share their stories, so that they can be live. So the Department of Human, I want to know that the Department of Human Settlement have the budget of that thing that should build a center for the gender-based violence peoples now. Okay, thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Tafeni. So, honorable members, do you still have any member I've called, now they are in the meeting, they want to speak? Koliswa?
Hi, Chair.
Okay, is Honorable Agas Ngwezi and Mapika in the meeting?
No, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I was saying that we welcome Chairperson of CGE, the good work that you are doing under very difficult circumstances, and we welcome the report, and we want to agree with you that there should be a working together and a working relationship between spheres of government, and want to acknowledge that the minister and the department has supported your findings, and they've committed to work together with yourselves. And I want to take it further, Chair, to say that because the country has through the presidency, they have established the strat plan, that deals with GBVs in particular. I suggest that those issues that relate to shelters, as you and the department are interacting, we should make sure that is incorporated within the bigger picture, so that we deal with the uncoordinated and the individualism of departments. So it will be important that as we move forward with those implementation and even the policy needs, they should actually go through the process that are within the context of the strat plan, and make sure that as we pass all the legislation that is needed to protect particularly majority who are women in this gender-based violence cycle, we should then have all department coordinated towards achieving the outcome for the strat plan that was presented. That's what I want to, as we welcome this report and work. But again, on the other categories, the vulnerable groups, I think we should then be able to ourselves, working with yourselves, monitoring the implementation of department as they implement their program, whether the issues of the vulnerable groups are taken care of, and through this report, and we'll continuously engage the department on what you have recommended that should be done. With those, I want to welcome your comment and the department's comment. Chair.
Chair, good morning. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, Chair. Thank you very much. Chair, I've been listening to all members' comments and questions, and it's really humbling to actually listen to how our report has been taken and welcomed by the Portfolio Committee. And also cognizant of the fact that, Chair, we really work under extreme difficult conditions. Our funding allocation that we receive every year from National Treasury doesn't match the mandate, the big mandate that we have, not to mention the issues that we are currently facing. As you know, that gender-based violence is escalating every day, and it's no longer just gender-based violence, clapping or, kicking. It's killing of women as well, which we call femicide. And this situation has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 lockdown situation. So, Chair, it's huge mandate. We don't sleep at night. But Chair, thank you for that opportunity. I will just run through comments. And I just want to say that most of the comments that were really positive coming our way are taken, Chair. We have taken note of those comments. And I will just go straight to questions. I think there was a very big question around the definition of a shelter. And if you look at the definition of a shelter, the way we have conceptualized it, Chairperson and honorable members, is that a shelter basically it's a place that gives a temporary, place or a home, but it's temporal in nature. It's not intended to be someone staying there for eternity. So, and in this case, we are talking about those temporary shelters for survivors of gender-based violence. And if we talk about survivors of gender-based violence, yes, and I agree that in most cases it's women who sometimes run away with children. And these are some of the things that we looked at, that, when you get to those shelters, it will be just one single bed that will not provide even for a 6-year-old who's still being breastfed, or a 13-year-old who has decided to also run away from. And we do take the fact that, yes, it's predominantly women, but it's gender as well, because I think more and more we have seen more men coming forward to say, I am also suffering from home. My wife actually beats the hell out of me. I'm sorry about the language. But let me just quickly say that, Chair, that perpetrators are not removed from their home. And this is in accordance to the legal prescripts. And if we say perpetrators, in most cases, it's men. So they are not removed from home, but it's women who are removed from home because the prescripts doesn't allow us. And it also says that a person is innocent until proven guilty. So also Domestic Violence Act, if you look at the act, it doesn't make provisions for the perpetrators to actually be removed. And we have also looked at the law reform that actually processes some of the things, and this is also still underway, and we are going to amend the Domestic Violence Act to actually look at these issues. And I must also mention, honorable members, that during COVID-19 lockdown, stage 5 to 4, I think we have had some complaints from few men who came forward and said, I would rather move away from home and leave my wife and children comfortable. So I think there are few shelters. I must mention that in Gauteng, for an example, some 2 B&Bs were then changed into shelters for men. So these are some of the things that we are continuously looking at in terms of actually also just improving the lives of women and children who are running away from SGBV, Chair. So if we talk about the emergency, the place must be non-conditional, whether you come in with nothing, or whether you come from another province, it mustn't ask you a lot of questions. And it must actually give you that shelter. And we have looked at the periods of stay in these shelters as well, because if we say temporary, the period of stay was one of the things that we looked at. It should actually make sure that you stay there until you are ready to go back to your home. And there are certain programs that are provided in this shelter just to prepare you to go back home. And these ongoing programs are programs that revolve around medical attention, that revolve around counseling, which is psychosocial support that you should be receiving. And even this psychosocial support, you are supposed to even get it when you have been discharged. And usually the period would be 6 months. And we say, if a person is not ready after 6 months, then what happens? So the shelters should be able to actually elongate, because the counseling is counseling that must be offered to the survivor, to the perpetrator, to the family members, until someone is ready to be discharged from this shelter. Let me quickly go to another versus the home. And I must say that when we looked at the shelters, it was not about a place for the disabled, but we were saying that these shelters must provide a temporary place even for persons with disabilities, because you will find that there were no ramps in some of the shelters, because it's not only normal able people that run away from home. Most of the gender-based violence is perpetrated to people that with disabilities, and we were saying that if you are in a wheelchair, you will find that the shelters, most shelters, don't provide for you because the ramps are not there. Sometimes you will find that even the bathrooms are not even allowing. And even LGBTIQ communities, some of the people that are gender non-conformant are not actually, they don't know where to put them, because they would say, we don't know whether it's a man or woman. So we are not sure whether at night something is going to happen because this person looks like a man. So we were saying that these shelters must provide for persons with disabilities in terms of ramps and lifts, but also persons, members of the LGBTIQA communities. Chairperson, let me quickly go to the next question. On the point of the DVA, which is the Domestic Violence Act of 1998, which really obliges, some sectors or some sections of our communities, including law enforcement, SAPs, to actually provide services. I must say that in a nutshell, yes, as we are reviewing the Domestic Violence Act, these are some of the services that we will clearly package in terms of what the SAPS is supposed to be providing, and the gaps that are in this act will actually be looked at. And it's an opportune time now, Chair and honorable members, because we have just adopted, the National Assembly has adopted the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, and we said within that process, we should be reviewing at least 2 acts, which is the DVA, Domestic Violence Act, and the Sexual Offences and Amendment Act. So those are the acts that we will prioritize during this financial year, Chair. And we will look at issues and gaps that are there in terms of services provided and not provided by SAPS. Going straight to Honorable Zeke's question on funding, yes, I must say that, yes, one of the finding and recommendation is around funding of the shelters. And the finding, Honorable, says that the funding comes from the Department of Social Development, and this funding comes once a year. So it's a per annum kind of an allocation that goes to shelters. But you will find that that funding, it's according to what they have submitted in terms of saying, we think we have 20 beds, and out of the 20 beds for the whole year, we will need 200,000 Rand to cater for the whole year. But because you will find that there is more demand for the service of shelters, so instead of welcoming 20 people, they would welcome 60 people. And we are saying that this is the kind of funding that they also try and source from donors. So they go out of the DOSD funding and they get donors. They tend to rely on donations from local people, business people, and or sometimes international donors. And that funding comes with some regulations and strict regulations to say, you do this and you don't do this. So because they are stretched more than what they are supposed to be receiving, so they tend to look for donation elsewhere, Honorable Chair and Honorable members. In terms of, let me just check other questions. I think there was a question on yeah, I think I've addressed the shelter for men. And I think the shelters must have guidelines. The shelters must actually work closely with the National Shelter Movement. And we do have partnerships. When we went to the shelters, we went together because they were providing some kind of guidelines and some kind of recommendations, which is why we are highly recommending that the Department of Social Development, the Department of Human Settlement should actually work with this National Shelter Movement, which is an NGO with a lot of experience, in terms of providing guidelines on what needs to be put in place in terms of looking at the shelters. Chairperson, I want to leave other questions to be responded to by the department. And I must say that, Chairperson, I'm really honored and humbled to hear the Chairperson and members really eager to working with CGE. We are here, we are providing services, and we are making sure that we will make sure that we look at coordination in the new structures that have been developed and the new NSP that has been adopted. We will be here as the Gender Commission just to make sure that we monitor the implementation of that National Strategic Plan on gender-based violence and femicide. And we will be here to monitor the structures that are being put in place to actually look at coordinating in the country, in provinces, working with SALGAs, and we will monitor the functionality and the effectiveness of those structures, Chairperson. I would like to pause here, Chair, but also just to indicate that really we are looking forward to invited back to the Portfolio Committee. Don't hesitate, Chair, to invite us. We will definitely make time and come when invited. And perhaps after this, Chair, with humility, we would like to be excused as we are finalizing our annual performance report as well as the annual financial statements. Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. DDG, Nebel.
Chairperson.
DDG.
Hello, Chairperson Nontantla is available to respond.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair and Portfolio Committee members. I must apologize first, Chair, my network is not very good, it's on and off. I have not heard all the questions, and in some instances, I did not even hear the names of the committee members. But I'm gonna start from what may be explaining the roles and responsibilities of the department in relation to the work that we are talking about. If we can look at it from a perspective of Section 3 of the Housing Act, to say National Department has a different responsibility compared to what we have with the provinces and local government. National Department, given that we are representing it, we are expected to determine policy. We are expected to determine norms and standards. Before we say we are determining policy and norms and standards, we have to undertake a detailed research in terms of the issues that we are supposed to respond to as a national department. Subsequent to the research, we will develop an instrument that we are saying it's addressing the specific problem that has been identified. And further to that, we will consult with the relevant stakeholders that are pertaining to the problem that we are trying to address in relation to the issue. I must say, like I indicated earlier on, to say the consultation in relation to this program It had to be very detailed in terms of bringing all the other sector departments, even talking to some of the NPOs that are providing shelter, and to sort of agree in terms of what is it that is catered for and what is it that is not catered for. If Chairperson, I can move on in terms of the responsibility to say, whilst we are determining our responsibilities to determine policy, we have a responsibility in terms of setting national goals. We have a responsibility in terms of allocating budgets. And when we've allocated those budgets, we need to monitor the implementation in respect of policies that would have been approved. Where we stand at the moment, Chair, we have a policy document that we have prepared. It has been consulted with all the relevant stakeholders, including presenting it to the Department of Social Development and Department of Health for us to say, these are the issues that we are addressing. In terms of the definition of what we've agreed upon as the department and the relevant sector departments, is to say the policy that we are developing, it has to address people with special housing needs. When we define a person with special housing needs, we are saying we are referring to persons that require housing opportunities for a variety of reasons. And it must be people who are unable to live independently in a normal housing environment. And therefore, they would require assistance in terms of a safe environment, in terms of a supportive environment, and that environment has to also be protected. And whoever that is in that environment that we are saying we are going to provide for, there has to be some level of care, protection, either on a temporary basis or on a permanent basis. From that definition, Chairperson, we have sort of agreed to say what we are going to provide for when the policy is approved. It will be broader than just providing for the victims of gender violence. In the definition, you'll realize, Chair, that it also covers children who are orphans. It covers persons with disabilities because they wouldn't be able to live independently on their own because of the nature of disabilities. If it's at an extreme level, to be a person not to be able to live on their own, requiring support. And it will be for persons who are terminally ill as well. So we have sort of provided those categories, and in itself, I think when I relate to what the other committee members related to, when we say it has to be a shelter that has some level of care, in terms of the level of care, it basically involves the other sector departments in terms of providing such. Our responsibility is in terms of providing the shelter itself, which will be talking to the roof and the walls that would have been provided, including the infrastructure in terms of water and services. The full work that has to be undertaken inside the care, it has to be provided in a form of through a multidisciplinary approach, where you will have social development, maybe bringing counselors, social workers, where you have Department of Health bringing nurses, where you'll interact with the members of the South African Police Services in terms of ensuring that whoever that would have been in that center is fully protected, and there would have been investigations in relation to maybe some of the issues that would have been provided. Other departments will include linking them with the Department of Labor, and also ensuring that there is some level of education that or skilling that happens in that kind of an environment. So when we were developing it, we basically said we just need to understand that what is missing it's a shelter. And each and every sector department that has to play a role has to come and play its part in relation to the responsibilities that are allocated emanating from the Constitution and also from the relevant legislation that would have been approved in relation to the care. I'm gonna pose the chairperson request the DDG, if he had all the other questions, to continue from where I'm leaving. Hello.
Thank you very much, DDG. DDG. Like we've we've lost the DDG. Poliswa.
Hello, Chairperson.
It's like we've lost the DDG.
Okay, let me try and find out, Chairperson. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Chairperson, can we move to another item while we are still waiting for the DDG? I propose.
Okay, honorable members. Let's get Poliswa to come back to us. If it's a network, we'll leave it at that. Maybe let me check with members that.
Morning, Chair. Sorry, can you hear me?
Oh yes, DDG.
Hello.
Yes, DDG, we can hear you. Proceed.
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, DDG.
Hello.
We can hear you. Proceed.
Morning, Chairperson. Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you. Poliswa.
Hello, Chairperson. He is on voicemail, so I can't assist now because his phone is on voicemail.
Oh.
Okay. Morning, Chair. Can you hear me?
He's connected, Chair.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes, proceed. We can hear you.
Sorry, I was having network problems. Chair, just to indicate, and I won't be long, I think Nonhlanhla, Ms. Buthelezi has covered a number of the essential points that were raised. I think the important points for us to note, Chair, is that in relation to the matter, there was a policy framework that we work with as the department, and on the basis of that policy framework, there's a funding framework attached to it. In the case of the special needs housing, and in relation to the matters related to shelters and temporary housing and transitional housing, that's the issue that has to be defined and developed between ourselves, Social Development Department of Health. And in relation to that, the issue was that if there's a construction or if there's a requirement for construction for the shelters to be constructed, the issue was that as the department, the roles and responsibilities about managing it, as well as running of those shelters by the non-profit organizations. And it covers the aged, it covers people with who need to be institutionalized. And then it also needs, and I think there was was it Member Moshela or Mokotu had raised the issue around the roles and responsibilities of councils, because there are also those grants that are provided to NPOs. But Chair, as we've indicated, the policy, there is a draft.
When will we bring it, Chair? We'll bring it to the committee, and depending on the schedule, we can do that before the end of September, but anytime after the 15th of September with your permission, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DDG. The time for human settlement has, for gender commission report has lapsed. Let me proceed to
Chairperson.
Honorable Mokotu.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would like to make a follow-up on one of the...
Honorable Mokotu, the time for the gender commission has lapsed. We are now going to another item.
Chairperson.
Please, Honorable Mokotu, because
most of the questions have not yet been answered.
Which questions, Honorable Mokotu? Because,
for example, one of the simplest questions that I've asked is that, is improving the quality of shelters not the mandate of the department? And then I've also said that if it is, because it is, why have the department not, provided security for shelters such as Kanyisa Victim Center, Kwanobuhle, for example? That is one of the questions that have not been answered.
But I thought the DDG has responded to that. Let me give him an opportunity to respond to you again. DDG?
Yes, I want him to be specific, to in particular answer this question.
Chair, in terms of the policy, the current policy that we have, we are not responsible for shelters in terms of the funding. So we're not allowed to use the funding in relation to shelters. It is allowable in the case of transitional housing. It's also allowable in the case of emergency housing, but in terms of those policy as well as the framework, it does not cover shelters and specifically shelters which are privately owned or managed outside of the state. We will know that in many respects in relation to state funding or public funding, there's no framework for us currently to be able to be upgrading or providing improvements to those shelters. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. Let's proceed to the second item. Take the opportunity to welcome the Miss. Hang on. I lost my agenda now. Poliswa?
It's Miss Ismail, Chairperson.
Okay, yes.
Chairperson, it's Honorable Powell. I rise on a point of clarity, please. Can I just understand how we're going to manage the time? We've got 55 minutes left. We spent an hour and a half on the CGE. Can we just get an undertaking that the 10 minutes will...
Well, it's not 1.5 hours. My time, it's yes, we it's because the report was huge and we had to give them. They had 1 hour, and we spent a lot of time ourselves arguing among ourselves. So
we have totally. I'm just asking how we're going to manage the time for the Kuruleni. Are we going to stick to the 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes? Because then the Breede Valley issue we won't have time for that on this agenda, because this is listed until 12.
See where we arrived, Honorable Member.
Sorry, Chairperson?
Can we proceed and see where we'll arrive at the time? Because if we are not finished, because we have eaten our time ourselves, arguing amongst ourselves, we'll check in the meantime, Kolisa will check whether they will allow us to finalize the agenda. If not, we will at the time that we're supposed to end the meeting, we'll communicate with the relevant stakeholder. Can we allow Ms. Ismail to present? Ms. Ismail, you're welcome to the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlement, Water and Sanitation. This is the Parliament of Republic of South Africa. You are welcome. We have received your petition. We wanted to give you 10 minutes to talk to us about your petition.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning all. Thank you for the opportunity to present this petition. It's important to note that the council-owned rental stock in the city of Ekurhuleni was built in the pre-democracy era. This rental stock was built for social housing for the middle and low-income groups. The said council stock costing has been recovered over and over again in the past 26 years. In 2008, an item was passed to allow for market-related rentals to be charged. This was to the detriment of tenants. In 2010, an added item was passed, allowing for a further 10% increase every year, further to the detriment of disadvantaged families. On passing this item, many parties have requested for a review of this item as per Section 59(3) of the Municipal Systems Act 32 of 2000. It is now almost 12 years and the municipality has not reviewed this item. The state of this council-owned rental stock does not allow or justify the high rentals charged. Due to the dilapidated state of this rental stock, the inconsistencies of the rentals charged is discriminatory, unjust, and unfair. The fact that one tenant is paying an economical rate and the neighbor is paying a market-related rental rate in the same building with the same degenerated conditions and the building structure is not fair to the market-related rental payer. Maintenance and refurbishments done at these flats are of a poor quality, and insufficient funds are provided to effectively refurbish these flats. Senior citizens, both at the pensioners' flats and those living at normal blocks of flats, are expected to pay high rentals, even though they only receive a SASSA grant. Many homes have been unraveled. Many tenants have been evicted with no place to go. In some cases, a parent had passed on, and young children have been put on the street just because they could not afford these rentals. This is although the Constitutional Court ruling states that evictions cannot take place if a person has no other place to go. Considering that the unemployment rate is so high and there's a scarcity of jobs, many tenants cannot afford these high rentals, let alone provide food, pay school fees, and afford to purchase electricity. As a PR councillor and ward councillor that served in the city of Ekurhuleni, I have highlighted to address these issues via petitions and a motion at council to lower the higher rentals. This matter has been highlighted to the Public Protector, the Human Rights Commission, and taken to court on more than one occasion. Yet, the city of Ekurhuleni does not find it necessary to urgently address and resolve this matter. Presently, there are at least 140 families whose prepaid electricity meter boxes are blocked simply because they cannot afford to pay the high rentals due to retrenchment or unemployment. It is disappointing to note that the department sees fit in presenting items affecting tenants of council-owned stock without proper public participation and public awareness programs. There are families who live in these flats for years. They cannot afford the leases to be changed to higher rentals and cannot afford to build or take on home loans. We call on the Portfolio Committee of Human Settlements and Water and Sanitation to please intervene and help ensure market rentals are decreased as a matter of urgency and all tenants that have been brought up in these flats not to be penalized at this juncture of their lives. Also, that the city of Ekurhuleni provides timeframes as to when the public participation process will start and end, and as to when deliberations on the review of this item will be finalized and presented to council to resolve. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ismail. The city of Ekurhuleni.
Thanks very much, Chair, and let me greet all honorable members, including officials present in this meeting, cutting across the two tiers of government. Chair, perhaps I'm with the HOD of Human Settlement, Mr. Andile Mahlaluche, who can go into detail if the committee pleases. But I just thought that perhaps maybe to cut to the chase, we can give a high-level report in as far as Honorable Member Hasina Ismail has given his happy bit of the take. Chairperson, perhaps maybe let me just give a lowdown. Indeed, there has been a erroneous item brought before council.
Sorry, honorable member, councillor.
Yes.
What portfolio are you holding so that for the purpose of the record?
My apologies, Chairperson.
Yes.
My name is Councillor Lesiba Mpia. I'm the MMC responsible for human settlements in the city of Ekurhuleni.
Okay, thank you very much.
With me, Chair, I'm with the head of department in the city, Mr. Andile Mahlaluche. Yes.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Okay.
Chair. Can I proceed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, proceed.
Yeah. So I just thought perhaps maybe to save the committee's time, we should give a high-level report. So our take on the matter, Chair, as the city is that indeed there has been a erroneous schedule presented before council. And this erroneous schedule 26 was giving a presentation of, ridiculously low tariffs. And you'd know that in terms of the Rental Housing Act, we as a city have got to run an entity or the rental stock in a manner that is sustainable. So it is incumbent on ourselves to actually provide maintenance services to the stock and to ensure that the upkeep of the property is up to standard. And one can agree that indeed, because of the aging stock, there are multiple challenges which we are confronting on a daily basis as the city of Ekurhuleni. But just to give a brief on what would have happened is that this erroneous schedule that would have come before council would have been rescinded at a particular time. And what is important also to understand is that there is a relationship that regulates ourselves as a city, who is the landlord, and the tenants, which is a lease. Inherently in a lease, there is a mandatory 10% increment, annual increment, Chairperson. So when you are a tenant who is given particular subsidies, you sign a lease with the landlord, and you consciously take ownership of the fact that annually there is going to be a 10% increment. And this, as I said in my opening address, Chairperson, it is to maintain that the city runs a sustainable process of its rental stock. So there was then an application brought before court, which was in two parts. Part A was to unblock the prepaid meters, and the Part B was to implement this erroneous Schedule 26, which was presenting very low tariffs. And this erroneous item that was later rescinded by council would have actually led to the demise of our process of the upkeep of the rental stock. So what the court then did is to grant relief on the Part A, which is to unblock the prepaid meters, which we did, seeing that it was then granted by the court, but it was also pending implementation of the council on the rescinding of that Schedule 26. So what Part B also wanted to do is to say we grant a cessation on the evictions of the tenants pending the ruling on the approved tariffs. So what would that mean is that we then take an item to council to say a mistake was done in the previous years, which is not making financial sense in the upkeep of the rental stock. So therefore, we are bringing it before council to rescind it so that we bring in an item that will actually make sense in the actual sustainability of the complex. So the initial applicants, Chairperson, were 21, which there was initial applicants before court, which were led by Mr. Mdluli, Mr. Mkunu, pardon me, Mr. Mkunu, and that then prompted another 30 who then, with the similar prayers, made an application before court. I think this was then a trend where citizens were saying, it seems as if our efforts of not paying might be, recognized by the courts. So therefore they joined in the court application. But what is interesting to note is that their application had the similar prayers as that of the initial 21 applicants. Subsequently, council rescinded the Schedule 26, and immediately after that, this application before court was dismissed by the court, since council then rescinded the Schedule 26. So that therefore meant that we could proceed with the credit control measures, making evictions a last resort, because we don't have any intentions of evicting tenants, provided that tenants play their part, approach the city, so that we speak to credit control measures, because there is an obligation imposed by law on the tenant to actually pay their part of the tariffs. But what was happening is that these tenants were no longer paying for their they were no longer paying their rent, and which was a breach on their obligation to pay as a tenant. Our position, Chairperson, as I perhaps learned, is that we are willing as a city to assist the tenants, provided that it is in line with the credit control of the credit control policy of the city, because the citizens would have brought another court, application, which we are not certain whether they are proceeding or not. But subsequently or parallel to that, they also went to the public protector as asserted by member Hasina. They would have gone to the public protector. However, our understanding is that anything that is in court for recourse, the public protector might not necessarily have or has quite limitations in terms of interacting with that particular matter. So it is in court. We are not certain whether the applicants are proceeding or not, but we are saying that we are willing to sit down with them to work out their credit controls. They have to pay their part of their end of the bargain, which is to pay for their rates. And then I think we are maintaining that our approach as a city is that individuals have to come to the city to actually negotiate their reinstatement of policy, which will be in line with the credit control policy of the city, Chairperson. Chair, I would have said a high level, but I think with your permission to grant the HOD of Human Settlements, if I have left anything out, Mr. Mahlaluche. Thank you, Chairperson.
MMC, you doubt your...
Pardon?
Already your time is up. You are left with 3 minutes. Can you do that with 3 minutes?
He can brush it up in 3 minutes, Chair.
3 minutes?
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, honorable members of the committee. My MMC, Councillor Lesibanja, my fellow colleagues from Human Settlements. Honorable Chair, the MMC has dealt with the contextual background in terms of this. We have submitted a formal response in terms of how our rental stock is operating, and also to address some of the discrepancies that we currently have in the existing policy. So without wasting time, I'm just going to go straight into it. In terms of the executive summary, as the honorable member has mentioned in the petition, that we have an approved rental policy which was adopted in 2008 and also reviewed in 2010. The policy as it exists has got some shortcomings, which I explain in detail in the policy that is currently being reviewed by council, which I'll also talk to. The shortcomings of the existing policy, Chairperson, is that the tariff rate model was based on income. In some instances, people who didn't disclose their income, some would claim that they're not working, whereas they are getting paid cash where they're getting paid. In some instances, we find there was a huge discrepancy with regard to tenants who've been in these units for the past 10 years versus the new one. There was some discrepancy that was given to some officials to also take the circumstances of the leases into account. So with all those, we then decided that we need to review the existing policy to make sure that it's uniform. So in terms of the legislative framework, we are governed by the Rental Housing Act as Act number 50 of 1999. In terms of the portfolio, just at a high level, we have 39 complexes for families that consist of 2,220 housing units. We have 25 complexes that cater for senior citizens that consist of 1,214. Yes.
Your time has lapsed. Probably the members have received you've sent the information to members of the committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I can just wrap it up, the existing policy as it's contained in the report is being reviewed. So the item was submitted to council on the 20 in November, and then from there it was referred to oversight, and then oversight deliberated on the item, and then the oversight submitted its report on the 25th of June this year to council. And then council resolved on two things. One, that the 10% that is currently being paid from the 1st of July every year be put on hold pending the finalization of this item. Secondly, that the policy that is being reviewed be subjected to public participation, especially those affected parties. So those are the two things that council resolved on, which we are busy working on with the oversight. And then a report will then go back to council once we've done that process. Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then we have the department response nationally. DG.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think the position of the department is that we're consistent with what Ekurhuleni's put forward. And I think the issue is that it falls within the scope of authority. So what we have requested is that we'll work and assist with the Ekurhuleni to ensure that there's a proper process of approval and there's equity in the process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, that was the report of Ekurhuleni and on the petition that was forwarded by Councillor H Ismail. I'm going to allow Honorable Mashego.
Chair, can I make a point of before?
Madam Chair, on a point of clarity, me please.
Thank you, Chair. I was thinking that can't we, before maybe we comment, Chair, because there is a way forward, can't we hear what Councillor Ismail is saying on the matter, on the proposed area? Then we can comment, Chair. Apologies, Member Mashego.
It's MP. It's MP Ismail. She's not a councillor anymore.
Apologies,
okay.
Chair.
Apology, MP Ismail. Yeah, you can go into the clarity.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. While I appreciate MMC Lesiba's input and the HOD's input, I just want to clarify that this petition is not to address the court case. This petition is basically to address the issue of the 2008 and 2010 items. So look, what is being brought to the table with this petition is to say that it's 12 years ago that this item was supposed to be reviewed, and it's taking the city of Ekurhuleni too long. Can we get some time frames, please? I appreciate that you're working forward, but if we could get some time frames of the public participation, campaigns and input, and maybe a time frame for when this item will be, presented at council, maybe that will be working a way forward for all. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Lesiba and HOD, who's taking it?
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. I think the HOD would have made it clear that explicitly that there is work on the item currently. There's a position that council would have taken. The item is now in public participation. We do take cognizance of the contents of the petition, and that is what we're addressing. We are not speaking to the trivial issues that might arise, probably, the court proceedings and so forth. We just had to put it into context for the benefit of the committee. But there is work being done on the item. The item, we have taken a position to say, with regard to the relief on the economic conditions of the people, let's put the 10% mandatory fee on hold whilst the item is serving in public participation. Once it is done, Chairperson, serving in public participation, because we are also pondering on how it should be done, because you know that public participation would necessarily need many people to interact with the item in a physically participatory processes. But with the current limitations on the regulations, we are charting out a way of informing that we don't compromise on public participation and on people's rights to comment on the issue. But once it is done on public participation, we'll surely forward that report to the committee. Thanks, Chair.
You don't have exact date. That's what you're saying.
Chair, if I can add, Honorable Chair, okay. MMC is correct because of the situation we find ourselves in. We then propose to the oversight the manner in which we want to undertake the public participation. Yeah. Once the oversight is comfortable with the approach, we will then we have allowed ourselves 30 days to do it, and then submit the report
We're losing you, HOD.
Okay, no, I was saying, Chair, because of COVID, we had to propose to oversight the manner in which we want to undertake the public participation. Once oversight is happy with that, and then we've allowed ourselves 30 days to engage the relevant stakeholders and then submit a report to oversight, which will then oversight take to council. So that is the process, Chairperson.
Okay. Okay, that is the response, Honorable Ismail. You want to follow up?
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate that they've given us a time frame of 30 days for the public participation. So we look forward to the item coming back to council in at least 2 months' time. Thank you so much, Chair. I really do appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, you are given 2 minutes to comment on the matter, and then so that we proceed to other issues. There is a progress on the matter, and Honorable Member Ismail is agreeing to the process. Can I get Honorable Mashego?
Thank you, Chairperson.
Minutes.
Under normal circumstances, we will say that let the process continue. However, let me just mention two things. For as long as we do not separate the social housing project vis-a-vis the residential houses, we will not resolve this problem. Social houses, by its own nature, are houses where people
We have lost you, Honorable Mashego.
So you do not expect people that are indigent, people that are unemployed, because it is for its own purpose. It's for people to pay and stay there socially, and the city makes money out of that. So for as long as you've got people that are unemployed, that are indigent, that are unable to pay you, it is no longer social houses. You are losing the meaning of it. But I will allow the process to continue, because I was involved in a discussion in my capacity as an MMC in Ekurhuleni and also as a chief whip on this discussion. For as long as we do not separate that a social housing process, it's houses of the city wherein people that lodges in it shall pay. If you do not pay, you can go and apply for indigent and get into the RDP process. Unfortunately, in this case, it is not the case. We will come back and discuss the matter, because it won't solve the problem of Member Hasim, because Member Hasim is expecting something that will allow indigent and unemployed people to stay and still pay, not market-related, but indigent processes. It does not happen in a social housing project. But I will live with whatever will come. We will come back on it after 2 months from here, because it will not resolve the problem. Andy, good morning.
Thank you,
Good
Honorable
morning.
Thank you, Honorable Mashego. Honorable Ismail is not saying that, Honorable Mashego.
Thank you.
Saying
Chair, I just wanted to clarify.
No, it's not saying people must not pay. It's not what he's saying. Can we then get Honorable Powell?
Thanks, Chairperson. I welcome the presentation. Well, firstly, I welcome Honourable Ismail having raised this issue on the parliamentary platform. We can see that this issue has been going on now for 12 years. So this isn't something that happened yesterday. It's taken the Ekurhuleni municipality, by their own admission, 12 years to deal with this, because this was an item that came before council in 2008. So we welcome the progress, but note that the timeframes are really unacceptable, because people's lives and incomes and livelihoods are at stake here. We also welcome the officials and the MMC's undertaking for the 30-day period, and we ask you, Chairperson, if this item can come back to us in September, so that we can continue to monitor the undertakings made by Ekurhuleni. And I will write to you in that regard to make sure that this committee conducts that ongoing oversight, because, you know, at this stage, I don't think we should just accept things at face value. And then I also welcome Honourable Ismail's fight for economic justice, for the disparity between those who are having to pay market-related rental and those who've got sort of state subsidies. But I remain concerned. I understand that the 10% has been put on hold, but I just also want to understand where this 10% comes from, because CPI over the past sort of couple of years sits between 4.5% and 6.4%. So is Ekurhuleni making a profit off this annual increase of 10%? Where does that come from? Those are my questions. Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable members, 2 minutes each. Please, if you can respect that. Honorable Musala.
Thanks, Chair. The importance of petitions to Parliament should be a priority in the committee program, scheduling as a matter of urgency. We cannot talk on looking after our people's interests as public representatives if we don't take this seriously. The petition, when I was reading the petition, it was referred to the committee on the 6th of February 2020, but only being recognized by this committee almost in August 2020. This is injustice to the residents of this community. Why is it being processed only now? This is my question. Why? COVID-19 cannot be used as an excuse anymore, nor can the district development model save this situation. The committee needs leadership of par excellence. We don't need mediocrity. We cannot allow something like that to happen. And my other input with regards to the 10% increase is very ridiculous. I just want to end there. Very ridiculous. We can't. We can't. It's too much for our people. And we need to ensure that we make sure that our people doesn't get evicted because of failing to pay. Because COVID-19 had led many losing jobs and pay cuts. For now, let's ensure that that our people are safe there at Ekurhuleni. The Council of Ekurhuleni could not continue as though it is business as usual. We cannot. The 10% is ridiculous. Go and sit down and try to solve this matter amicably. Thank you.
Chair, thanks very much. I think I'm covered by the speakers that spoke before me. Thanks, Chair.
Honorable Tseki.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, let me declare my conflict of interest. I work very closely with the MMC on local matters there, and also the office led by Mr. Lubengo in Alberton. So this is like home. Chair, let me also appreciate the comment from Member Powell, a DA member talking about economic justice. This is development, and then we need to commend it because it shows a sign of change from the bourgeois thinking to a socialist thinking. Chair, I think Member Mashiko has given us a homework of the meaning of social housing. And for Member Mohlala to beat a drum, a socialist kind of drums, under these conditions of social housing, it may not be a good thing, but he's trying just to make noise. And my proposal, Chair, is that the Ekurhuleni has given us a way forward, while others are going to comment. But I was thinking that let's take what Member Mashiko said. And I think DG, acting DG, this is also an item for the agenda, not necessarily for Ekurhuleni, but for a discussion generally on the impact of both COVID and generally policy formulation around these kind of challenges on housing, on social housing, that we need ourselves as a committee, Chair, keep abreast with this kind of an agenda and debate it among ourselves and with the department. So I want to say, Chair, thank you very much, and thanks for the response from Ekurhuleni, which is it's taking us forward. You can seal and go through, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Basson. Honorable Basson.
Absent, Chair.
Chairperson, I focus on human settlements issues, so Honourable Bassan's covered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Mokutu.
Honorable Mokutu. Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to say to the council that they must look into this issue of other tenants having to pay market-related rentals whilst the others are paying less rentals. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Sifai.
Thank you for calling. If you know your party.
Honorable Sifai. Honorable Siwapasingwe.
I'm covered, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Tafeni. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, it is the surprise about the petition that is coming on the last day of July 2020, but it was due on February 2020. So it means it takes clear that they are not taking our people serious here. So Honorable Chale is right and clear about that. So I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, honorable members. I'm not going to respond to other issues. Let me thank the member of parliament, Ismail, for having coming to present to the committee, and we are going to make sure that as the city of Ekurhuleni is committing itself, within a month, they will process the issue, in 2 months, take the matter to the council. Immediately after around September, we'll request the MMC to send the reports to the parliament. And if there is a need for us to engage again, we'll call you again, Honorable Ismail. If the city of Ekurhuleni has responded to the matter adequately, we'll send the members the response from the city of Ekurhuleni. But again, at that time, I think we will actually engage on a broader issues as it has been raised on the issue of social housing, so that we are able to engage with the matter and rest that case for even in other municipality if it can arise. Thank you for alerting that, because it is then helping us to continue to engage with the matter of social housing and renting, and we will await for the report from Ekurhuleni in September. Thank you very much, Honorable Ismail.
Thank you to the committee. Thank you so much.
Chairperson, I've asked, why is this being processed now? From February, now we are almost in August now. So I want to know why. What caused that?
The office of the speaker. You can go and ask the office of the speaker.
Chairperson, just for your guidance, are we expected to respond to the questions in written form? The orally asked questions now, is that the chairperson's guidance?
No. The issue that the petition is raising, you are saying that you are taking the public, you've actually dealt with the issue of the 10%. You're dealing with other issues which is going for public participation. We are saying we allow the council to do that process, And immediately when you finish, issues that are raised by the petition by Honorable Ismail, that's what we are dealing with in this. So after the council meeting, if there are issues that has not been responded to, we will call you back. But please, after the council, if even if you have responded to that, send the committee the report. And if you have not actually, the committee is not happy with your response, we will call you again to this meeting. Thank you very much. So can we, you are then released, can we get the...
No, but Chairperson, you did not answer. Can I be recognized, please?
Honorable member, we don't have much time. Can we allow the Breede Valley to proceed?
No, because you did not answer me. You said I must go to speak. The speaker is not the chair. The chairperson is you.
I'm not going to respond there. I don't have an answer. Can we proceed?
Honorable Semenya, it's Honorable Powell.
Honorable Powell, we don't have time. Can we proceed with the...
It's on the next item. It's not on the Ekurhuleni matter.
Okay.
We have got 10 minutes. So I just want to make sure that when we consider this next item, we're not going to be able to make any progress in 10 minutes. So can we get an agreement that we'll go over 12 o'clock or what your plan is? Because it's not fair to the officials who've waited all morning on Breede Valley to now be given 10 minutes for this full item. We need to apply our minds. So can I have some guidance from you, please, on if we're going to go over 12 o'clock or what the plan is? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Powell. I said Koliswa will guide us through the engagement with those that are manning the system, whether we can proceed over the after 12. Koliswa, can we proceed?
Chairperson, please check your message, Chairperson.
Oh, message on the WhatsApp or the
WhatsApp, Chairperson.
Okay. So the system is allowing we can continue. Can we then get the Breede Valley Municipality? The councillor will introduce the issue as put on the agenda. Breede Valley.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Neil Merkier. I'm the Speaker of the Municipal Council. And good morning, Honorable members. Are you with me? Did you receive me?
Yes.
Hello, Chairperson.
Yes, ma'am.
There is also Mr. Mangali, who was also going to introduce the memorandum from Breede Valley.
Oh, Mr. who?
Mr. Mangali.
Oh, Mr. Mangali. Oh, Mr. Mangali. Councillor, can we give you Mr. Mangali first? That will follow.
It's fine with me, Honorable Chair. It's fine with me. Mr. Councillor Mangali may proceed. He is the complainant in the matter, so let him proceed.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning. Are you hear me, Chair?
Yes, we do.
Good morning, Chair, and the Portfolio Committee and the Breede Valley Municipality. And my name is Moses Mangali, a ward councillor of Breede Valley in Ward 16. I did write the memorandum because of I have a challenge and a problem. I raised this many times in our municipality, and I sent even an email to the province, to the provincial. But it seems that we get ignored because of there is no answers. Chairperson, let me be briefly and short because I have only 5 minutes. In my 5 minutes, I just have 3 issues on that I raised on my email when I sent it a complaint. Chairperson, I did complain with the issue of the project of the housing in New Mandela that were approved on 2013. The project's name is New Mandela 652. That project was approved on 2013. I was not a councillor on that time, but I was a committee member, a ward committee member, a portfolio in housing. Then I became a councillor in 2016. Since 2013, the project keep doing beneficial list up until now. And then my problem or our problem is that we have two projects in Breede Valley. One is a Transex project that have 8,000 units. And then we have the other one that in New Mandela. Chairperson, my problem is that in since we keeping doing a beneficial list, but there is nothing happened. In 20.
Oh, Councillor.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you remove your cap?
Okay. Sorry about that. You see me now? Okay, ma'am. Chairperson, in financial year of 2017 and 2018, the Breede Valley Municipality sent back the housing money, 13.5 million, of which that money they're supposed to use on the project of Transex. My concern is that we have other projects, like projects that approved in 2013, but they keep saying that why they didn't use that money to that project on 652. Then instead of that, they send it back to the province. In financial year of 2018-2019, they sent 80 million of housing back, of which we still have those two projects. That's my concern, Chairperson. That's what I did understand on our municipality. It seems that they ignore us, or they don't want to work with our ward, or they ignore the poor and the poorest people. The second issue, Chairperson, I just rushed because of the time, Chairperson. I have 5 minutes. The second issue, Chairperson, is the issue of the Mandela Note, of which that the Mandela Note is 16 years now. People are sitting in informal settlement. On 2017, 2018, the municipality sent us an NGO or NPO that called Kayam Nandi, that they must do a work on Mandela Note. But after 6 months, we were waiting for it. Then after 6 months, Chairperson, they said the new NPO that they must do the same job that Kayam Nandi did. That for us, it's a waste of money, because when they hire Kayam Nandi, they paid a lot of money for Kayam Nandi to do the job in Mandela Note. But after 6 months, they hire new NPO or NGO to do the job, of which that is waste of money. Chairperson, on that note, we have that informal settlement that they have a lot of plus minus 6,000 people are living there in that informal settlement. We have elderly people, disabled people. There is no streets there. There is no water and sanitation, nothing about like that. There is no electricity. So those people are suffering for a long time now, of which as the municipality that we call, that is a caring municipality, on my understanding, we're supposed to look at that. Because in our priority, Chairperson, since 2011 until now, you can check this, Mandela Note is still there in our priority, what priorities? It seems that our municipality, they're supposed to budget on that since 2011 until now. It's 8 years, if I'm count correct, Chairperson. But there is no budget. Last week, Tuesday, we have a council meeting that we sit with up the IDP issues. We raised this in IDP, but it seems that they ignore us. Chairperson, in 2017, there was in Ivan Park, where the people of Ivan Park relocated themselves to a new place called Emakwaleni. Those people, they sit with, some of them, they have IDP, RDP houses, some of them, they have electricity. They ran because of there was a crisis there was a fight, gangsters fight, that our municipality did not attend on that issue.
Summarize, you have left 2 to 1 minute.
Sorry, Chair. Okay. That is a last issue, Chairperson. So those people are moving to Zwelethemba. That means they add more informal settlement in Ward 16. Those people are sitting now there without any water, any toilet. When they want to go to toilet, they use a plastic bag, short plastic bag, then they throw it in a dumping site. That is painful, Chairperson. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you very much. Can we then have the Breede Valley Municipality to respond?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, the complaints by Councillor Mangali can be broadly summarized as follows: the general service delivery issues, the new housing Mandela Square, the project there, the 652 so-called, and then the money is being regained by province for the Transex project, and then the upgrading of informal settlements. Madam Chair, our partner in these efforts are the Provincial Housing Settlements Department, and they are with us in this discussion. And I also have my own team here, the technical team, led by the municipal manager and other senior managers, who is also with me in this discussion. Having listened to what Councillor Mangali has said, I think it is prudent that we should firstly start the discussion regarding the new housing Mandela Square project, because should we build new houses, that will obviously alleviate the general service delivery issues. So may I ask, Madam Chair, with your permission, if Mr. Prashen Chandaka can do the presentation on behalf of the Provincial Housing Department, because Councillor Mangali has also involved them in this, and the presentation by province will be more or less the same as the presentation by our own Breede Valley Housing section. So if Mr. Prashen Chandaka is still online, Lady Chair, I would, with your permission, ask him to do the presentation on the new Mandela Square, as indicated by Councillor Mangali.
Okay, and the informal settlement.
That's correct. Yeah, the informal settlements will be done by our own housing manager, Mr. Mayek.
Can we finalize your inputs? Then we go to the province, then we go to national, so that we don't go back and forth.
Yeah, sure. Lady Chair, then from the BVM side, Breede Valley side, I would like to call on Mr. Simpiwe Mayeki, our housing manager, to talk about the upgrading of the informal settlements, the ISSP program, which will also touch on the question of the people living in the informal settlements. And for now, yes, I would like
from Mr. Makir.
Yes, sir. Hello, Mr. So if Mr. Mayeki could handle the informal settlements as well as the service delivery issues, indicating the chemical toilets and standpipes, and that what we have done thus far, so that we can, respond to Councillor Mayeki's allegation that we are delivering no services whatsoever. I think we need to touch on that. So, Chair, with your permission, I would like to ask Mr. Mayeki to do his deliveries input.
Okay, Mr. Mayeki.
Good afternoon, honorable members and the committee, as well as the officials. Maybe to start responding to Councillor Mangali, I might just mention two issues. On New Mandela and North Mandela is two different areas in terms of our planning. Firstly, New Mandela is been developed, fully developed. In other words, there's services, there's roads, there is flush toilets, there is electricity. North Mandela is an area that has developed over the years, and all these years until November 2019 has been outside the urban edge in terms of our municipal boundaries. So I think that maybe we need to first deal with that. So the first study Councillor Mangali refers to is with relation to the informal area, mostly in New Mandela, and it only focused on 2,000 structures. The program was sponsored by DPSA, and we could only do 2,000 informal settlements. So if you look at the area of the councillor mentioned, Ward 18, we have close to 7,000, if not more, structures that are concentrated in that area. So if you take 2,000 from a 7,000, so that shows you that the work that was done previously was not enough to give us sufficient information in order to plan for the development of the entire area. So the current study we're doing now, that is based on the ISSP program, is to give us enough data to proceed with the planning, and it includes the entire area, which is North Mandela and Aspat. So it's not a waste of money. We have to continue. The current service provider will proceed with the service provider Kayamani that was mentioned ended up. So we can have a conclusive report for council to make a decision, as well as for the department to be in a position to fund an upgrade of some sort in the area. So there is a project in place that we've registered in terms of the ISSP to develop New Mandela. Council has dealt with the planning issues, in particular the boundaries. The boundaries have been extended to include all those informal settlements so that we're in a position to provide more services. What we are providing currently in New Mandela, in Old Mandela, and including in North, let me say Mandela for the sake of progress, in the Old Mandela informal settlement, we're providing chemical toilets, we're providing standpipes. We're also providing now, with the help of the Department of Water and Sanitation, the tanks. The tanks that were provided to us, we got 25 tanks, water tanks. 14 of those tanks were all installed in that area, as addition to what we've been providing over the years. The reason we've done that because we understand the shortcomings, because the recent invasion of that piece of land, the extension of that land, happened with the violence that happened in Avian Park. And that has created a situation where the existing services could not cope. And at the same time last year, when in the assessment that was done in 2016, we used that assessment to increase the level of chemical toilets as well. So roughly we spend in monetary terms around 300,000 monthly to provide only the chemical toilets, while we're in the process of developing the area in order to accommodate more people. Now, I think that does it in terms. I should end there in terms of providing services. So it's a pity I'm not able to put a slide, because in a presentation or in a slide, in the numbers we have, it would give the members enough idea as to what are we talking about, because all the services that we are providing in the area have been plotted in a map and they are existing there. Of course, we acknowledge that there is shortcomings, because with informal settlements and the increased number of people moving in the area, we are bound to be short. Okay. Yeah.
You are saying that you cannot put the slide on the system?
Can I put the slide? I'm not allowed into. I cannot from where I'm sitting, Chairperson.
Poliswa?
President?
Yes, Chair, we have the slides. As he was talking, I was watching the new Mandela and the old Mandela, Chair.
Okay, no, I wanted for Koliswa to assist them to put the slide, because that's what we do in the meeting. Koliswa?
Hello, Chair.
So can you give them the right to put their slides, or you have the copy, put the copy on the...
Mr. Miyagi, you can put the presentation on the slide, on your side.
No, that option is not available for me, because I'm not the host.
Can you put
the that I have is from the provincial department. Are you talking to that one?
In a spread, is it in a form of a letter or in a form of a presentation?
Of a letter.
No, that. But let for the sake of progress, because the letter from the department then will take up on the issues in terms of the project. But before I step down, maybe in terms of the New Mandela project, the other issue that maybe the members need to understand, the issue of the beneficiaries in the project. When we talk about the beneficiary in New Mandela and Old Mandela, we're talking about beneficiaries that are occupying the service plots. So members will understand, when you deal with the infields project, it gets complicated, because we have to deal with the existing people. You don't have the luxury of having beneficiaries beforehand. That has been the Achilles in the entire project. Hence, we've been going back and forth to the community to find ways to deal with the beneficiary administration. I hope I've covered everything from the end, but I'll wait for the questions if they are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maiki. So, Provincial Department, Women Settlement.
Afternoon, Chairperson, honorable members and colleagues. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Afternoon, I'll be brief, Chair. My name is Tushain Chandaka. I'm the director for the Overberg and Wineland meeting, the Overberg and Winelands areas at the provincial department in the implementation section. Thank you for sharing. We prepared a report. The first thing I just want to deal with is the councillor's query around the Trans-Hex project. And he made a statement that funding was sent back from the municipality to the provincial department. So I just wanted to give some clarity around that. Number one, we did prepare a comprehensive report on that query for the municipality last year. The Trans-Hex project is a provincially run project. The Department of Human Settlements, the provincial department, is the client. We hire the contractors directly, we hire the consultants directly, right? And so the funds that are allocated to the project in each financial year are actually spent by the department, even though it shows as a municipal allocation together with the other projects. Number one, that project, it did have some delays with respect to the underestimation of the amount of rock. It's a very rocky site, number one. And number two, there were some delays to the contractors with respect to community delays, as well as the delays of local subcontracting. Therefore, the project did not spend as much as we had budgeted for in the previous financial year. And therefore, those funds were not paid to the municipality. So it wasn't a sense of the funds were given to the municipality and they underspent and the funds were returned to the department. It was simply the department that was running the project, which had a few issues on it, and therefore the project achieved what it did in that financial year. At this point in time, the project has serviced 1,500 sites, and we've started with the construction of the top structures, which are underway at the moment. So it's back on track. So I'm closing that issue on TransHex just so that everybody is clear and we can take some questions on it later if you want, Chair. Now to get to the new Mandela Square query, this project, this is the report that's on the screen at the moment. The project was initially approved in 2002 for 1,800 opportunities and 1,800 sites have been serviced to date. Now, how it normally works with respect to top structures is when the municipality is ready to do a phase or a block of top structures, they then submit a separate application to the department based on the current subsidy quantum at the time, whether they've got enough beneficiaries for that phase, and whether all the development planning rights and so forth are in place. So at this point in time, the first phase of that has been constructed. I'm just going to give you the exact figure in the report. It is 626 top structures has been built to date on those urban, right? The second phase, which the councillor is referring to now, is the 652 opportunities, which is the application which is with the department at the moment. Now, the councillor firstly mentioned that it has been approved, and I think he was alluding to the fact that the overall project has been approved. However, this specific phase of top structures of 652 has not been approved by the provincial department. Number one, because of, like Mr. Mayeki said earlier, there's a lack of qualifying beneficiaries at the moment. So the provincial department cannot approve it. The second thing is we require the site development plan as well as the traffic impact assessment and some other development rights requirements to be in place. Sorry, I'm with you.
Can we request that we mute our mic, those that are not speaking? Thank you. Proceed, Director.
Sure, thank you, Chair. So it was, we as a department, we simply said that we require the site development plan, the traffic impact assessment, and the township establishment information. So we can get those three things. The municipality is currently busy with them, as well as the qualifying beneficiary issues of the 652 qualifying beneficiaries. Then we can re-look at this specific 652 TOPS application and consider it for approval. What we have done is we've allowed for it on the budget for the next financial year, 21-22, in anticipation of these issues being resolved. Then thirdly, the remaining top structures that the councillor was talking about, the municipality has said that they intend to apply for those in future phases. Well, that's the remainder of them. But as municipalities normally do, as they get one phase ready with qualifying beneficiaries and the proper application in place, then we implement that phase. And then once that is completed, or while it's being completed, they would get the following phase ready for approval. Chairperson, that basically covers it from the provincial department side. If there's any questions, I'm welcome to take them. And everything that I've mentioned now is in the comprehensive report that we sent to the portfolio committee. Thank you, Chair.
Hello, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Director. Can we get the National Department to make their input? National, DDG.
Chairperson, may I come in just on one item, please? I just wanted to mention to the meeting that before the lockdown in February, when the query was first raised, we were visited by colleagues from National. It was Pusi Chose and the others from the Stakeholder Management Unit. They requested that this report be done, and we did complete it and we sent it to them. So it is in hand, and I think their next step was to go and engage their community, but the lockdown happened. So that's just it from my side. Thanks, Jay.
Okay.
Mr. Chosa's hand is raised now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Director. Are we not getting the DDG?
Hello, Sean. Sean, can you assist with getting the DDG?
Yeah, sorry, Chair, I'm just battling with connectivity. Can you hear me now, Chair?
Yes.
Okay, my apologies, Chair. Chair, just to indicate from the department side, I'm going to ask, I've got Mr. Chose from the Deputy Minister's office. And Chair, they've been involved in trying to assist in resolving this matter. So with your permission, I'm just going to ask Mr. Chose if he could indicate. I know that as of February this year, there's been a number of engagements and commitments to try and resolve the issue and bring the parties together. With your permission, Chair, can I ask Mr. Chose?
Chose.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair. I hope you can hear me. Indeed, we can confirm that the Department of Human Settlements, through the Office of the Deputy Minister, Pem Chwete, did receive and interacted with the council as early as February. Immediately after that, Chair, we can confirm that we visited the area, and also we had a discussion with the councillor concerned. Also, Chair, we can confirm that we did organize a IGR meetings that took place between the spheres of government in an attempt to try and bring everybody under one roof. Lastly, Chair, we can confirm that unfortunately, the last meeting that we had around March, the decision was that the province would compile the report, and then that report will be taken by both the Deputy Minister and the MEC to the community and present it live to the community so that we can have a fruitful interaction between government as well as the community. Unfortunately, that meeting was scheduled for the first week of April, and that was the period and where public gatherings were no more permitted to take place. But however, interactions were happening. So that's how far, Chair, we have left it up until now. The comprehensive report has been compiled by the province, and then it was presented here today. Thank you very much, Chair.
Hello, Chairperson.
Chairperson, are you there, Chair?
Chairperson, unmute yourself, please.
Okay. Sorry, members. Thank you very much, Deputy Minister's Office. Councillor, are you in agreement with the process that has unfolded? Because there is for me, there is a work in progress as outlined by the office that they were supposed to go and engage the communities and with the province, and they were going to develop a plan out of the engagement with the communities. So do you have say anything that you want to say before we members engage with the presentation? Councillor?
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Chairperson, I have some few questions that I have for the Breede Valley Municipality and the province. If you allow me to ask those questions, Chairperson.
Okay.
May I proceed, Chairperson?
Okay.
Chairperson, as I hear what Mr. Mayeki said and the province said, I'm not agree on what they said, Chairperson. Firstly, they said the 6.5 project was not approved. How can the project not approve, but they appoint the contractor? They already appoint the contractor. The name of the contractor is Power Construction. Then they said now the project was not approved. Yes, there is a difference between New Mandela and Mandela Note, of which we talk two different areas. The last area is the area called Magwaleni. Those people are coming from Ivanburg. But that area is separate with the Mandela Note and Aspat. The issue of urban edge, it's not an issue that we received last year, that extension of urban edge is already extended. No, 2009 Chairperson, they put electricity. The Breede Valley Municipality put electricity in Mandela Note. The project was not finished yet. The half of the Mandela Note, not a half, a quarter of a Mandela Note, they have electricity. But the majority of them, they don't have electricity. There is a difficult, there is a, Chairperson, there is a difference with a report, a written report. Yes, Chairperson, yes.
Councillor?
I can't hear you, Chairperson.
I was saying that the last speaker from the DM's office is saying that they have interacted with yourselves and the province and the municipalities. What they were waiting, what they were supposed to have done was to prepare a report and come back to you with the community and then engage on the report. And from that report, obviously, you would ask questions, they will clarify, and there will be, the deputy minister will be part of that meeting, and there will be a way forward. So with that, can we take it that there is a progress on this matter, and therefore allow that process that the deputy minister, because you have forwarded this matter even to them, they are going to assist in intervening, working with the province and municipalities. So without coming into an argument with the Breede Valley Municipality, and we allow the deputy minister to come and mediate in the area with the people and resolve this matter, so that as Parliament, we will arrange with the deputy minister after the engagement to come and brief us, and will later come in, and when there is when it's normal, there's normality, we'll come and visit the area and see what is happening. So can we allow this process? Because now it's going to be you and them, and the deputy minister is not even in part of this meeting, as the one that is intervening. If you allow that, can you allow that process?
Okay. Chairperson, I allow that process, and I agree with Mr.
Okay. Honorable.
Yes, Chairperson, I allow that process, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable members.
Thank you, Chair.
Can we agree that because the deputy minister has engaged with the province and municipalities, and they are supposed to go back to the community, being the third sphere of government, to go and interact with the community? Can we allow that process to come, to go and be finalized, and then we can then get the deputy minister later on to come and brief us on the matter, and then we can take it further from that level, because the presentation shows that interaction has not reached its finality, or has not reached the conclusion. Can I get a response from members?
Thank you,
Honorable
Chair.
Master.
Member Tseki.
Yes, Chair.
Okay.
And me too, later.
You guys, please. Okay, can I get Honorable Zeki?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. And the Councillor, thank you very much. And Councillor, please continue to raise this thing. And many people in the Western Cape, we have noticed that they are living in a very despicable conditions. And we want to support you. Continue. You can even have the contacts of the chairperson beyond this. After 30 days, you can check with us on how far is it. We are going to support you as the committee all the way. And we want to thank you, thanks the department's intervention. So feel free, and I say, Viva Councillor, continue to raise the community issues. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Power.
Thanks, Chairperson. Yeah, I mean, I really welcome the robust engagement on this, and I think that the provincial department's presentation adequately addresses what went wrong here. But I think just, you know, we know that the community invaded the area that was earmarked for decanting because this was a UISP, and we've seen from the presentation that, you know, the budget.
Am I allowed to call order, Chair?
For the 7,000 structures, 2,000 opportunities were yielded.
Can I be allowed to call order, Chair? Member Powell is out of order.
No, Honorable Zeki, allow
Yes,
Member
ma'am.
Powell to take its view. I know that I've asked a particular question. Allow her to raise his view, and then probably we'll come back to the issue. Allow her to raise these issues. Yes.
Maybe we'll be given an opportunity to comment on that, Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Tseki, I didn't even bother to respond to your comment about the socialist ideology. So can we just focus on the business of today, please, and stop interrupting one another? So what I was just going to say is that I think that what's going on here is it's indicative of a much wider national problem. We're seeing land invasions across the country out of control, as obviously a result of government's failure to provide basic services. Sadly, at the budget on Wednesday, we saw the ANC supporting a budget that cut the housing department's HSDG budget, which departments like the Western Cape provincial government use to provide formal top structures by 1.7 billion rand. We saw the ANC in Parliament cut the USDG budget, which municipalities like Breede Valley used to provide taps and toilets and provide for people's basic dignity by 1.1 billion rand, but you know, there was 2.5 billion rand available for e-tolls. So, you know, I think that this is indicative of a larger situation that we're seeing take place across the country. And I really do applaud the Western Cape provincial government's dedication to the delivery of human settlements and above national service standard basic services like taps and toilets consistently. And then also just to note that the Western Cape was actually the only province in South Africa to spend 100% of their HSDG in the past financial year. So that's all from me, Chair. I unfortunately have another meeting, so I'm going to log off at this point. Thank you, Chairperson.
Why do you want to log off? Because you're speaking.
Honorable Zeke, let's allow meeting to proceed. Honorable Masala.
Thanks so much, Chairperson. Chair, you know, it is very sad. We witness every day the inhumanity of not having proper shelter by our people. These places where our people stay, they have no proper running water. They don't have toilets. There is no electricity.
You don't have people. You don't call people our people.
It is congested. What I want to say, I'm very happy in the manner which the councillor did it by raising his voice. We must never allow a situation where we are silenced when we experience problems. But my suggestion is there seems to be confusion in terms of the development in the two areas. Perhaps the two parties must go and sit down again, as the chair have suggested, and engage to get a clear understanding. And then, since the chair have already even spoken about the minister, the deputy minister intervening, let it be and come back to us so that we can check on the progress of this matter. And it must not take long, Chairperson. Maybe, as you have said, that in 2 months or 1 month, the committee must sit again and we discuss on this matter to check progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Musala, Honorable Mashego.
Thanks, Chairperson. How I wish we will not politicize the processes of the petition and deal with it differently and leave the meeting because it is in Western Cape. It is very unfortunate. I'm sure finally you are coming to that point. There is a clear-cut process that is taking place. A ward councillor in a council meeting. Mangali is a ward councillor. He's raising a ward issue. And the council of Breede Valley says there is a process to address that ward issue within their council structure. And this ward councillor says he does not, he now accepts what the council says. But the matter is already at national government when the council of Breede Valley is addressing the problem. The provincial government is addressing the problem. But the deputy minister is addressing the very same problem of one ward councillor in a ward of Breede Valley, not necessarily in Western Cape, but in one ward in Cape Town. And we say it is hallelujah. It is, I mean, we are becoming a referee in a soccer match somewhere in Breede Valley. I'm not saying it is not important, it is, but the process is that if a ward councillor having a problem shall raise the matter with council. If council does not satisfy him, he can take it to the province. If the province does not satisfy, he can come to national. Now, in this case, it comes from a ward direct to council, and now the province and even the council itself must come and answer before us to answer their own ward councillor in the area. It is not necessarily a correct way to deal with issues, but it is here. The deputy minister is addressing the problem. Let's accept it. And I wish, I'm a chairperson, we do not politicize these petitions, because these petitions are residential problems, are not party problems. We must, and I think I agree with Musala in a way that let us address the people of South Africa who have got problems, irrespective of the party they belong to. And in addressing them, we must never be parties in talking to these items. We should be members of parliament and members of council and address the problems. When we go and address them one by one at their places, yes, we can talk our politics. But for as long as we does not want to be members of parliament to address issues of parliament, we will have a difficulty of addressing the needs of the operation of parliament. But I agree with you, Chair. Let's allow the deputy minister has already intervened. Let him go back, and within that particular time, we can come back and talk. But we must avoid a situation where one resident in a street in personal matter can bring a matter to national parliament, and therefore we all run onto that particular street corner. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mashiro. I think that issue, for now, the laws allow that. That's why we had a member of parliament who's sitting in the committees, petitions the municipality we attended the petition. The law says that any member can do that. I think it's something that if you feel it doesn't work out well, of course, if you look it in the near future, it can even destabilize the system that we have put it in place. So, but we should then, for now, it's a law that is required. And as members of parliament, we have seen that loopholes, that we have a particular areas where we can raise these things for it to be corrected, that in the near future. And when we say the issues we're addressing the issues of communities, and in this case, the ward councillor took upon himself to represent these communities. But the issue is, as you're raising it, is it actually this matter helping the system to be able to deal with the issue as we move forward? Is something that we can raise it with Parliament and look at that and amend the law that is regulating the matter. But for now, as we are saying, it's here, we're saying councillor, let the councillor, because the deputy minister already has advanced in that area. Let's wait the process of the executive to take its course, and then they'll come back and feedback to us. And I agree that it should not take time. And I want to put this thing, honorable members, that the program of Parliament, it's very tight such that even ourselves that we're supposed to handle the matters as comes from communities, you find that it's a tight program of Parliament that we must fit ourselves in. So that's something that we must note. We might say 2 months, but at that 2 months it doesn't happen because there are other issues that by law we should actually deal with them before the other issue. And we're taking all the issues as important as being presented in this committee. Can I then get Honorable, I'm told Honorable Basson doesn't have views on the human settlement. Honorable Mokhoto. Honorable Mokhoto.
I'm covered, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Seke.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think I'm covered with your way forward of saying we have to wait for the process to unfold in whilst the deputy minister and the team and the provincial and the local government, the Breede Valley Municipality interacting with the community. We appreciate that, Chair. But just to request you to talk to Honorable Powell to say she must not come here with a narrow mind and talk whatever that she wants to talk. That is a nonsense actually, and leave the meeting. It's out of order. He must say whatever that she wants to say, be in the meeting so that she can be able to wait for the response, Chairperson. So in future, he must behave in a manner that is human. We are not going to allow that as members of the portfolio committee. But otherwise, I appreciate the progress report that has been done, and we'll wait for the DM as a mediator to bring the report to the portfolio committee. Thank you very much. We understand the challenges that are facing Cape Town, and we don't want to politicize that, because every day we are seeing a lot of evictions in Cape Town. The minister has indicated last week in a budget vote that the city of Cape Town is not spending its grants. Every time they do have rollovers, we know that, but we don't want to speak about them. So she must not just come here and speak as if they are doing well. All is well in Cape Town. We know our people are struggling. We know there are no services in Cape Town. That's what we understand, but we don't want to politicize that, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Zeke. Honorable Tafeni.
Chairperson. Yeah,
I've lost you.
Hello, Chairperson.
Yes, ma. We're listening. We can hear you.
Islalo. Chairperson.
Yes. Yes. We're listening.
Uyandiva Slalo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nkosi Chairperson, the issue of yabantu abanatsikleone le issue le ndaba emva kwe-26 years kukhoda ama-councillor aza ngaphambili ayindiniki kubana urhulumente i-government
Members, can you mute yourself? Honorable members, can you mute yourself? Continue.
You get me, Chairperson, now?
Yes. Continue, Honorable Tafeni. Honorable
Chairperson.
Yes. Continue.
Yeah, what's move again? There is someone that is not the mic.
Ignore them and talk to us while listening. And Koliswa, can you mute these people? And Honorable Tafet, mute yourself. Unmute yourself, Honorable Tafet.
Chairperson.
Yes, ma'am.
Chairperson.
We're listening.
Yeah, Mangbulele. Ewe?
We are here. We can hear you.
Okay. Mina ngifuna ukuzana le ndaba lokho sibonakala siyinhlekisa as i-Department of Human Settlement. When it comes you kuzaba nama-councillor aza ngaphambili ezawukhalaza. So andiyiboni into enhle leyo enziwa i-adjustment budget for kuncitshisa i-budget but kukho abantu abakhalayo for 26 years of democracy but still abantu bethu abakakwazi uba nendawo yokuhlala. So as the Committee of Human Settlement, suppose basifile isonke ngoba ayiniki ingqwalasela intle kunakubabukeli xa abantu bezawudinga izinto zokuhlala. More especially in Cape Town. In Cape Town there is a crisis enkulu engakwazi uncediseka. Singake sibe ngathi siyigxeka kwi-Cape Town since EDA that is leading the Cape Town. But even in the Eastern Cape, there is a crisis yabantu abangenazo indawo zokuhlala. And i-surprise ephinde ndiyifumane into yobana kukho abantu abathi bezakhele ufumanisa uba umasipala ulida into yokubana abantu mabachithelwe. Abantu bawuthi ze bonwabe eSouth Africa kuthini because as EFF sithi abantu mabanika umhlaba bazokwazi uzibhilda nangaphandle kwayo yonke ukuncedisa abantu mabanikwe only umhlaba bazokwazi uzibhilda abantu. Noko sibonakala siyinhlekisa siyi-South Africa emva kwe-26 years of democracy. Still kusekho abantu abahlala ezitratweni abangancedisekiyo. Still kusekho abantu abakhokhela abantu abafuneke baze kwi-department ngaphambili. It's because abancediseki kwindawo abakhokhele kuzo. So bendifuna uphawula nje loo nto, Chairperson.
Viva. Okay, honorable member, because we are raising issues when we say we're closing, I'm going to allow them to respond. Provincial department and municipality.
Chairman, if I may respond on behalf of the Breede Valley Municipality.
Yes.
We note the directive and the direction that we are entering into. I just want to add that together with the report submitted by the provincial department from BVM side, we would like to add what we have done thus far for the provision of basic services, North Mandela and the other informal settlements within Zwelathemba. That's number one. And number two, I want to place on the record, Honorable Chair, that we are in constant discussions around all these issues with all ward councillors, especially Councillor Mangali. My door is open, and so is the door of the municipal manager and the executive mayor. Councillor Mangali knows that all ward councillors are welcome to discuss whatever is necessary with us each and every day. We've also set up a meeting with the ward councillors of that specific township for next week. Councillor Mangali is aware of that. He's also aware of a sort of workshop that we'll have with all the service delivery issues in and around our towns, with specific reference to the 4 wards in Gauteng. So that's for the record, Madam Chair, and I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Province.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just wanted to say that we agree with the resolutions of the meeting. We will continue to engage with the Deputy Minister's officials as well as the municipality and the councillors. And just to note that we are following due process in terms of the approval of projects as well as the budgeting process. It has been followed to the T, and if the Commission wants to engage on the report that we submitted, it is quite comprehensive and covers all aspects. So we look forward to engaging on it going forward. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, DM's office.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, we can commit that. We can commit that, Chairperson, we are going to endeavor with the spirit of IGR on this matter up until all issues are attended to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, what Councillor, your last word? You're fine.
Ngosi Chairperson, Ndiyabulela. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I appreciate what the committee did, and I hope that there will be a follow-up meeting, as the office of the DM said it can be assist us, because there is a difference when a written report and also a physical, because someone was there, they can see what I'm saying now. And in point of correction, I didn't jump a province. I sent the email to the province before I send the email to the National Committee. So I just want to correct that. I raised this in a municipality platform. Then I take it up to the province. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you very much, what Councillor. I think we have concluded that we acknowledge that there is a process that both the municipality, the department, and the DM's office are engaged. We will await for that process to unfold, and we expect the report from the DM and the province and municipalities. And I want to thank you, Councillor, for raising this issue. But you see, what Honorable Mashio is raising is very important. That if we can imagine we've got 159 municipalities, and if 159 municipalities which have got councillors more than 5,000, all of them petitions their government might have a serious, and this parliament will be dysfunctional because we might not have the capacity ourselves, because we are only 400 to deal with that. We want to applaud on you to say that Speaker has opened the offices, and let's engage. When there is no agreement, then proceed to the higher level. I think that will help and cement the intergovernmental relations. But we'll continue with this matter because it's before us, and we want to thank you for having raised that. Probably when you are seated as a ward councillor, you are a cold face of service delivery, and people, when they engage with you, and you just felt that you should actually stand up and take this matter up. We appreciate that, but we are saying that let's cement our intergovernmental relation between our local municipalities, province and national. And if provinces does not respond, national, they can respond and bring all of you together and resolve the matter. So thank you very much, honorable members, for your time. And we want to thank the city of Cape, the province of Cape Town and the Breede Valley Municipality for availing yourselves, and the office of the Deputy Minister and the DG's office. We thank you very much, and honorable members, the meeting stands adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Much. Thank you.
Musala.
Thank you, Chair.
Musala.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Musala. Honorable Musala, Watom.
South Africa.
Watom. Stati.